God. How do you do it? How do you do it?
We shut down, I tell you.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody on YouTube, what is going on? It is that time of the night once again where it is St. Paddy's Day. So I hope you're wearing some green, because if not, old Davey's going to come and pinch your tush. Male or female, I don't care. It's just one of those days where tush pitching is allowed. Yes, it's not my fault if you do not have green on, or be green with envy. Envy, I tell you. All right, we have a new moderator in the chat room tonight. It is the lovely and talented Kira, all the way from somewhere in Oregon. Yeah, somewhere in Oregon. That's all we'll say. Let's give the rundown. Race fan in the gold medal position. Sultry Susie in silver. Eric takes home the bronze. Hey, James Smith and gorgeous Katie, good to see you. Cedric, good to have you here. Sassy Sandra and Aiden, good to have you both back. Bigfoot Rob, always a pleasure to have you here. Bungus, good for the bunghole. There you are. Hungry Burrito, thanks for joining us. Nate Foot and Hallmark Corey are here. Nate, I'm surprised you pried Corey away from the Hallmark channel for this one. It's going to be a gooder, man, so good job at fathering that. Ben from UFO Garage, good to see you. Bigfoot Michigan Rob, thanks for dropping on in. I will actually be interviewed by Bigfoot Rob here coming up probably within the next couple of weeks, so that'll be a lot of fun. Dazzling Dolly, good to see you. Kurt Seltzer, welcome to the show. Brett Lewis is here, which means we can officially start the show. Jurassic Joey and Chris Jarvis, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming on in. As we move on down, there she is, everyone. Unbelievable. Her attendance record is damn near perfect and flawless. Alaska's greatest athlete, the gorgeous Emily Bigelow, is back. Please give us a wave, Emily. Thank you. Super Quest is here. He will be signing autographs after the show. Please line up to the right. He prefers no eye contact when you come up to him for an autograph. Project Blue Book will be lining up on the left because he'll be signing autographs as well besides Super Quest. So you got a good tandem there tonight. Millennium, good to see you. Stevie at KPNL, thanks for coming on in. And Richard Elmore is here, everyone. Good to have you. Hey, Oscar. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. I still don't know why you want me to do that 3 times, but you always do. And who else am I missing? Jayon, or is it Yayon? Hi, welcome to our chat room. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Virgil, good to see you. Thank you for coming on in. Mike D for life with a lot of Y's in there. Welcome to our chat room. Thank you for joining us. And make sure you hit that subscribe button if you don't mind, if you haven't already. John Swan, good to see you. And I think we're catching up here. Richard Elmore, Justin Good Earth. Not a bad Earth. It's a good Earth, everyone. Oh, Princess Denali is back. Thank you for joining us, the official royalty of Spaced Out Radio. Gorgeous Larry is back in the shoot right there. Bassmaster, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. And I think we're caught up for right now. Dog Next Door is here. Woof to you. Woof. Woof, 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 woof. All right, we got a couple of minutes here before we're going to go. Merle is back, everyone. Merle. And we got Ross Allison. We have Badman Jake right there. Jake, I don't even know your last name, so you're just going to be Badman Jake. Because you're pretty bad. You're pretty bad.
He has a nickname.
Yeah.
Merle.
I think we all get nicknames on this show, don't we?
I haven't given you one, Ross. I get to.
Oh, you did say something earlier, but I don't think you'd say it on the show.
I forget already, man. That was Ross, a long time ago.
Allison.
Oh yeah. Ross fucking Allison is here, everyone. Ross fucking Allison. Yes.
You let your hair down.
Yeah, pardon me. Gorgeous Helena has showed up in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. And yeah. This is great because I literally got a bunch of my friends here, and this is what makes it fun. Timber Hunter, aka Little Marky Spender, says Merle in the chat room. Yes, Stu fucking Gerson, right there, buddy. Yeah, see, you're not the only one. You're not the only one, Ross. Stu Gerson, yeah. Now that gets me excited. Who else am I missing? Jim Christie is here, everyone. The Jim Christie. Crow Creek, good to see you. Thank you for coming on in as we're going to get ready to fire things off here. And once again, no swearing while we're on the air because That way Dave has to edit. Ross.
Hey, I didn't. That was all you.
That was so not me. It was so not me, man. All right. My brother Eugene in Philadelphia. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. All right. We are about 30 seconds away. Remember, a good way to support this show, we have the super chat open. If you're new, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways, but hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that way you can know when we're coming on live. And yeah. What else? Go shopping. Facebook.com/the SOR Vault. We're going to get things going here in like 10 seconds. Ghosts of the Great White North. Yes, we got Merle, everyone. Merle. He is back. All Merle. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Well, you know, it's that time of the month again where we got Merle coming back in from Ghosts of the Great White North after spending his birthday weekend in Powell River, British Columbia, an inlet community where the ghosts are pretty active. But he's back for the big show tonight as we are joined by special guest Ross Allison from A.G.H.O.S.T in downtown Seattle, and his good buddy Jacob, who's a great investigator in Seattle as well. And we're going to take on the paranormal field tonight. We're going to bring out the angry ghost hunters that they can be. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. We bring in Merle right now because I know you're all excited, and soon we're going to have Merle t-shirts in our Spaced Out Radio store, and you're going to want to scoop them up. I'm sure they'll be sold out. He'll autograph them too. Merle, how was your birthday weekend, man?
It's fantastic. Did 5 nights with 4 different locations, non-stop investigating. I'm a bit tired tonight, but I'm here for you, Dave.
Well, you know, as one of your best friends, I do have to say that I think my invite must have got lost in the mail or something, because I wasn't invited.
You missed the Facebook group chat. You're not in that either?
No, apparently you don't like me enough.
and do I get a cut for those shirts?
No, not after not even inviting me to your birthday ghost hunt, man. Gee whiz, you know, like, I think this is going to become the Ross Allison show of Ghosts of the Great White Seattle.
Ross was invited.
Yeah, I'm sure Ross was invited. Anyways, Merle, tell us about Powell River, BC. Where is it and how haunted is it?
Powell River is on the Sunshine Coast of British Columbia. So from Vancouver, it's 2 ferry rides, so about 3 hours. It's untouched. There's a really nice historic district there with beautiful old buildings from the late 1800s. Early 1900s. We investigated a place called the Old Courthouse Inn, which was built in 1939 and is home to allegedly multiple ghosts, where we got quite a bit of evidence, in my opinion. We got more than we thought we would, because we were using a lot of new gear. We also went to a place called That Chicken Place. It was like an old 50s diner, which was attached to a really old historic Rodmay hotel, which, in my opinion, that place it's very haunted. If you took The Shining and the Cecil, you put them together, the Stanley and the Cecil, you put them together, you get the Rodmay. So,
anything strange and weird happen in front of you?
Yeah, and I got it on film too, which I'll send to Ross and Jake to rip apart. um, we were in a room in the old courthouse inn, and we were just doing a basic EVP session. We were just starting. We just set up. We sat down, and our camera was angled towards the door because one of the tells is this door. The door is open and closed all throughout the hotel. They're old buildings, they're old doors, so they're really hard to open and close. It takes quite a bit of effort. And I'm literally just sitting there with Sandra, and I look at the door, and I'm like, if there's anyone here, open this door. Give us a knock. The classic knock if you're here. And all of a sudden, we heard a big bang on the door. Something dropped, and then the door just opened about 2 inches. And it was a total what the F moment because it actually happened. And our friend that was there, Bill, he was in the basement and we were on the 3rd floor. There was nobody else in the hotel. They blocked it off for us for 4 days. So we literally had free reign of the place. And yeah, that was probably one of the coolest things that happened there. And another was we're actually trying the Estes method. I've never done it before. We've seen it on YouTube. I've read about it. We just wanted to try it to see what happened. Or what would happen. And when we were doing the Estes method in another room, it used to be a police station, this particular room. And there's been previous guest encounters of being told to shut up when they're in there. So I'm sitting there and me being kind of a pot stirrer, I'm like, if there's anything here, scare the SH out of me to make me leave. And I'm doing I have the blindfold on for this. Wasn't feeling it at first, but I'm like, whatever, I'll try it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, who's walking around me? And you see me move my hand around because I actually feel walking around me. And then I kind of poke the bear a little bit more. And then I feel something, felt like a hand go up my arm and kind of grab it. Needless to say, I freaked out a bit, threw my Dr. Dre Beat headphones, broke them, and had to compose myself.
Very nice.
It was good.
Very nice. Very nice. That's why we give you 2 Merles up for that one, my friend. 2 Merles up for your birthday.
Oh, boy.
Exactly. So, Merle, when you're going through a brand new location like that has, if ever, been investigated, when you're in that fresh virgin type territory, how exciting is it and how active is it compared to a place that, say, gets investigated every weekend or every second weekend?
For me, it was really active, but we were being really thorough. Like, we did baseline readings probably 2 to 3 times, every room, every hallway, everywhere. So it was nice to get kind of map it out paranormal wise, but also listening and speaking to the owner of the place and the locals and the people that work there. All of their stories kind of added up to the experiences we had, which is actually really neat. The energy was a lot higher than a place where you would go, say, every weekend or every day, right? It was cool. It was neat.
Very cool. Let's bring in Ross and Jacob here because they are part of A.H.O.S.T. People probably recognize Ross Allison for being on the show a few weeks ago, but, he comes on a couple of times a year to hang out and talk everything paranormal with us. Ross, it's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my friend.
It's always an honor to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I
think we're going to have a beard contest here going on pretty soon, huh?
I know. Well, you know what? This is actually, I'm glad you guys are on because we're actually working. Let's just let the cat out of the bag. Can we? You mind?
Sure.
All right.
Go for it.
So for our Spaced Out Radio audience on our YouTube channel, if you aren't subscribed yet, very, very soon, once we get a few minor bugs fixed up, we are actually going to be adding video to our live YouTube shows. So if a guest wants to come on camera, they can. But number 2, Ross, Jacob, and Merle are going to be adding a paranormal show on our YouTube channel that we're going to sponsor. And I'm going to tag along because I'm the dummy of the group, called The Angry Ghost Hunter. And what it is it's going to be kind of a show on ghost hunting, what you should do, what you should not do, problems in the paranormal, how to fix them. Everything is about solutions. And Ross is the key to this. This is a real special project that he has. Tell us about it, Ross.
Well, it started many years back when I started a blog talking about a lot of the problems I was facing, being a paranormal investigator, dealing with, egos, territorial issues, evidence hoarding, and the list goes on and on. And so I decided, I want to write about this, put it in the forefront, and see what kind of solutions we can have, because we've all talked about having some sort of paranormal unity, but we fail to achieve that in many different ways. So I started a blog, and then the blog was picked up by a magazine, and it ran for a while on Ghost Voices magazine. And then I started doing a little bit of radio, and it was really taking off for quite some time. But then my schedule got really busy, and it was really hard to maintain the schedule to do the show. But I've had a lot of people, a lot of fans of that concept reach out to me and say, we would love to see the Angry Ghost Hunter show come back. And so, here we are. I think we got a great team to kind of talk about some of these issues and try to resolve them.
And I got to say thank you for even approaching us to be a part of this, man. And,
I just wanted your sexy voice in this. That's all.
I know. But my friend, there's a few people I look up to, and I know you don't get a chance to tune in every night, but I got to tell you, in a kiss butt sort of way here, your name and David Weatherly's name are dropped a lot on this show, a lot, because when I think of credibility in this field of paranormal, you two are, in my opinion, two of the top 5 in North America when it comes to ghost hunting and anything paranormal, supernatural. So to all of a sudden have you say, hey, we'd love to join the format with this, it is a real honor for not only me, but it's the respect that you are giving all of our listeners who tune on in to this opportunity for you to be a part of this. So, I mean, it's a wow moment for us, man. A wow moment.
Well, I'm honored to be working with you guys. I really do like bringing the meeting of the minds and dealing with these topics that a lot of people don't want to talk about. They want to, I hate to say it, bitch about it, but the thing is we're not really talking about it and trying to come up with solutions. And here's our opportunity to even allow the audience to come to us and say, hey, here's some problems I've been dealing with in the paranormal field. What do we do? So, yeah.
Exactly. Ross, why don't you introduce us to your good friend here, Jake Rice?
Well, Jake has been with me for, gosh, how long? I think about 3 years, 4 years now?
4. I think we're
4.
closer
Oh,
to
my
4
God.
now. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's your longest relationship, I know.
No, Jake, I met Jake. He actually had signed up for a few of my public ghost hunts that we offer through Spooked in Seattle.
And I reviewed them harshly.
Yeah, and he did. And the fact of the matter is, I saw a lot of passion in this guy. He was very devoted to the field. And, for me, it's very rare for me to reach out to somebody and say, hey, I would like to have you, join my team and work with us. And he was one of those people that I actually stalked. I reached out to him and said, hey, what do you think?
In a non-creepy way. Non-creepy way.
Sure.
But yeah, no, he's a great guy, very intelligent. And I always turn to him for a lot of things, especially when it comes to TV, because he watches all the shows that I refuse to watch. Another topic we can talk about, but he watches them all, so it's nice to get his feedback on a lot of that stuff. And he loves the tools, the gadgets. So he has no problem, dropping a few $100 on some of these new devices and then finding out that they're crap.
Well, that's because he's on New York time.
That's right. I'm on New York time. So I live outside of Seattle, folks. So.
Hey, I got to ask you, Jake, being, the new guy here with the group that we're together, I'm very familiar with Ross and, of course, Merle. But for you, what was your passion about getting into ghost hunting?
Yeah, so I guess I could just from childhood, because I didn't have like a paranormal experience you hear about with people until much later in life. In fact, actually, it was after I started ghost hunting that I had my first paranormal experience that kind of solidified my want to do it more. But as a kid, as you could tell, because I'm 6 feet tall and blonde. For those that have met you and on video, I'm not. I'm a dwarf with black hair. Um, I grew up with a lot of the Scandinavian tales of monsters and mylings and all those things that live in the woods, and this old storytelling that came out of Scandinavia, as well as my dad's Welsh, so I got a good dose of the Celtic lore as well. And I just grew up with that as a kid, and I had older brothers, and we watched creature features, and I'm heavily influenced by Scooby-Doo. I admit that. And it was just I liked the creepy factor. I was always curious about the unknown as a kid, and it just kind of stuck with me. And I will say I got into it because I was watching the shows, and I was like, I think I could do this better. And so I learned about the gear, the techniques, and off I went. I started in Chicago, and I was living in Chicago at the time. And it was in 2007 that I pretty much started up ghostly activities with my BFF, Celine Graham. Shout out to Celine.
Well, that's kind of interesting. I think we all have something that has led us to this field and what we're trying to accomplish. But one of the things that we want to talk about with you guys tonight is the fact that there is a lot of shenanigans that go on in the paranormal field. And we're not saying this to gripe or berate, but there is real concern from those who are weekend warriors comparatively to those who are doing it on a full-time job basis, like you, David Weatherly, and many others are, Ross. So for you, and you've made this your career, you've made this your passion, why is it so important for you to be that leading voice in trying to help people understand what the paranormal community is all about?
Well, as I've always said, is the ghost hunting aspect has become very popular, overwhelmingly popular. And the problem that we have in this field is, as so many groups develop throughout the years, I've always said, one of the things that I come from the time when, when we started my group, there was only 50 groups nationally in the US, and not all those groups were active. So, we were just a small percentage of the ghost hunting community back then. And then once the television shows launched, now you're easily looking at over 100 groups in each state. So it's very competitive. And the problem is these groups popped up so quickly, all to imitate the shows that they were seeing on TV, that they lacked a lot of education. They were getting their education from the television shows. And this led to a huge problem where you have a lot of people muddying up the water. And so we've lost grasp of the credibility that we're trying to bring into this field. So many people, again, just have these false concepts of what ghost hunting is, or what it's like, or what to expect. And we need to bring that all together, and we need to bring some reality to it, because reality TV is not reality. So I think it's very important that we bring some of that to the table and discuss this and see where it goes.
Merle, how do you feel about that?
I agree with Ross. I think it all needs to be talked about. There are a ton of trendy ghost hunters, like we all know. The phone apps are taking the paranormal world by storm right now. There's Ovuluses for the phone apps. There's EMF for the ghost or the phone apps. There's apps that'll tell you where ghosts are standing, and people actually believe this stuff, which blows my mind. And I think it's good to talk about that stuff at an educational level, where we're giving, like Ross, like I pick Jake and Ross's brain all the time on Messenger over gear, especially with Jake. He's probably, oh God, what's he asking me now? Like about audio stuff. Like,
actually, not really. I dig talking about it. It's cool.
Fair enough.
If you think you're bad, we're doing it too. So he's getting hit on all ends here.
but that's the communication level I think people should be at, where like I love it when Jake will be like, no, I think you should do it like this, or blah. I'm like, I agree, because I'd say more times not. I'm very receptive to that, and I think most people should. Ross was right earlier when he said about ego plays a big part in the field. At the end of the day, everyone should just not have ego and share. And like
Well, we're not gonna get anywhere, and that's the biggest thing
I
is people think that they are going to be the one to prove that ghosts exist, and it's not going to be one individual. It'll probably be a combination of us that'll be able to come together and agree on what is happening in the paranormal world, but we're not going to be able to do that if we're not willing to share.
Jake, let's learn about you a little bit here. What do you think? I mean, you're a techie guy. You're someone
Yep.
who likes to do things right, don't want to rip people off. You want to make sure that people are doing it right. How important is it to teach the positives of this to the people who may not know what they're doing?
Yeah, so with my website, ghostlyactivities.com, it's very much an informational site. So I do all the gadget reviews on it with the gotchas, as well as like how I go about approaching a ghost hunt and mainly documenting the evidence that you get. So on Ghostly, I'll break down all the pros and cons of a gadget, how you should use it, how it would be applied on your ghost hunt. But I'm not so rigid because I'm not on the ghost hunt, right? With the people reading my site, so you can only give general guidelines on how to use it. But it's really up to the investigator how they want to approach and document. The big problem I have with the field is you don't get a lot of documentation with what's going on. But so it's kind of like my legacy is, with Ghostly, this is the way I do it. You don't have to follow the steps. There are, I'll asterisk the stuff that you got to know, I think, to use the gear equipment correctly, to run the experiments correctly, but after that, I'm not going to pee on anyone's lawn, it's
You know,
on them to,
the one thing
I just
people
hope they use it correctly though.
Right. The one thing people need to understand too is, Jake doesn't get paid to do any of this stuff, so his opinion is not biased.
That's true. I buy everything myself.
Right. So he's
Yeah.
not, because, so and so made this device and they're giving me, $20 or $100 to review this. He's not going to give you a positive review just over that. So you'll get an honest opinion.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's only a few gadgets. I mean, there's like 50 gadgets I would never use, let's be real. And we can talk about it later if you want to. But there is always a use case where even the crappiest gear can come in handy. And that's what I try to focus on. But there has been crap that I've just shredded on my site. And sometimes I'm fearful when I'm ordering new gear from those makers. Like, oh, I hope, because I know they've read my site. I sit there, it's like, oh, well, I hope they ship the gear because they know what's coming.
Well, gentlemen, we have less than a minute here. And, I think one of the great debates is the technical gear that people use. But there's also a lot of other issues we are going to get into tonight. There's people trying to lock down locations. There's people who try to follow others while they are on paranormal investigations. There's people who are copycats. There's people who out there who claim that they are, they have to be the team skeptic. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to get into, and in the future of the Angry Ghost Hunter on our YouTube channel coming up here in quite a while. But, once again, we want to say this isn't about knocking people. It's about calling out the BS to let people know that if you're interested in getting into this field, it's a wonderful field to get into. It's a lot of fun. But if you're doing it, do it for the right reasons. Do it for yourself. Do it for, the way you're going to have some respect. And these guys are going to teach you. Merle, Ross Allison, Jacob Rice, Ghosts of the Great White North continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. I gotta go find out who is knocking at my window. I don't know if you guys heard that when I took my headphones off.
Mm-mm.
Uh-oh.
Nope.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go find out
Ghost.
who is knocking at my window.
If it's Bigfoot, invite them in. We can do a cryptid.
No, it
If
isn't
it-
Bigfoot. I'm not in Bigfoot area, but
Okay.
just kind of weird. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Next, we're gonna hear him screaming. You know?
I know it'll be like some
This
slasher.
is a lead into a horror movie, I tell ya.
And we'll see the body of Michael Myers. walking by
Yeah.
his camera. Yeah. People can hear us on YouTube. Just letting y'all know that.
Okay. I've listened actually. I've heard the
Fair enough.
in between. I'll call it the hot mic. Hi YouTube
enough.
peeps.
I sent you guys a photo of the door opening. It was really neat.
Let me.
Or video.
Did
That's
you
a
want us
pretty
to talk
clear
about
video.
it tonight, or
Pardon?
do we want to wait?
I will wait on that. We can wait to.
So we're looking at the hotel door. You've got the do not disturb sign on. Is that what I'm looking at? Or
Yep.
Okay.
Well, if you're all looking, I want to look too.
It's in the Facebook.
I wish I could show the viewers. Well, I guess we'll be able to soon enough.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
will be. Yeah, I'll know how to trick that up for you. That's I gotta play it again. That looks pretty subtle here.
So for all the viewers or listeners out there, what Ross and Jake are doing is I sent them a video of when I was at the hotel. We'll rewatch this video once Dave has the video going for when we can do the Angry Ghost Hunter. It could be a cool one to dissect, but what they're watching is an old door, 1939 door. It used to be a jury room, and before the courthouse inn turned into an actual inn, it was a government building. There's a police station, there's a court, there's all of that sort of stuff. And the clip they're watching, it's a little 20-second clip of my camera faced towards the door. And what's happening is I'm asking for just a sign that someone's there. And you hear a loud knock with something falling, and then the door, you can hear it just click open.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So nobody knocked at my window.
No?
No,
It was a demon.
No footprints going away from it. Or
I
anything?
didn't go. I didn't go
Little
outside. That area
footprints
doesn't have any.
that
That area is dry.
Okay.
That was just weird, man, because it was just
Mhm.
like, you know how a window sounds? Got that
Mhm.
hollow, hard sound? It was just like that, man. It was weird.
Huh.
That's why I took off my headphones. It was somebody knocking there? Or what? Oh, well. Not now, but it happens. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Yeah. That's why I have a Canadian flag up there now, so in case anything weird happens, I don't get to see it.
That could be a good and bad thing.
Last year, while it was after the show. Hi, gorgeous Simply Coco. How are you? It was after the show where I had my screen door open, and it could have been a cat, it could have been a fox, or whatever. But I think we were like talking about gnomes and stuff that night.
Mhm.
And Weatherly has me totally freaked out about gnomes now because I used to hate gnomes, and I'm not allowed to like gnomes or not like gnomes now. Hey, Persevere. Hi, Polar Eclipse. So, anyways. My window opens to it's a side opening window. And so it only opens about 8-9 inches. And I have my screen up there. And all of a sudden I hear this bang on the screen, like something hits the window, hits the screen, and the screen falls into a picture of my daughter I have on my mantle, and it's like rocking back and forth. And I'm like, God, I got to stick my hand out there to close the window now, but I didn't know what it was. I literally thought it was the gnomes. I literally thought it was the gnomes saying, hey, boy, we're here. We're going to get you. But it could have been. All right. Sit tight, guys. We have about 30 seconds here before we're going to kick things back off. Hello to everyone. Our chat room is packing up. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Remember, hit that subscribe button if you're brand new. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up or down. Ring that bell, and the super chat is open if you feel like supporting us on that end as well. We really do appreciate the love. Here we go. Second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Ghosts of the Great White North. It is underway, which means the man, the myth, and the legend all wrapped into one. Merle is back from the Paranormal Road Trippers. He is nodding his hat in acceptance to that title. Ross Allison and Jacob Rice from A.G.H.O.S.T down in Seattle are our special guests. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Good to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Merle?
Dave.
Yes, Merle.
I got your nickname, Dave Dad Rock Scott.
Dad Rock.
No?
No.
That's silence. Not good.
No,
Okay.
no. You're going to have to try harder, Merle. Going to have to
And
try.
Jacob, he has a Canadian connection for you.
I do.
He's part one of us.
I like to say kind of Canadian.
Get
Though
the
you wouldn't be
citizenship.
happy because it's Ottawa way.
Well, see, that's okay, as long as it's not
Okay.
Toronto.
Okay.
As long as it's not Toronto. You know? So, that's cool. That's cool, man. At least you're wearing a Seattle Kraken hoodie there.
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
gotta get
I
you.
can't wait.
I gotta get you to get some swag for my son because he loves the Kraken already, and they haven't played an NHL game. Gentlemen, we were just before the break talking about the way paranormal investigation is. You know, there's a way to be critical and there's a way to be constructive with constructive critiquing out there. But in the paranormal field, it's a very fine line because there is no rule book, there is no laws or regulations that may or may not help this entire field. Nobody has ever seemed to get together with that power term called para-unity that is going on. Why hasn't para-unity worked, Ross?
Because the egos. You got the egos and you got the diversity too. And the diversity is split by the many different beliefs when it comes to the paranormal aspect. You got people that want to be led by the religious beliefs, people that want to be even led by even a skeptical belief as well. So all these different beliefs and the metaphysical element of it all has really divided up the ghost hunting community. It's kind of like religion. You know, you have all these different religions based off of even sometimes one religion. So that has been the biggest problem. You know, we got a lot of these people that want to bring their own feedback and beliefs into the system. But if we're truly trying to be paranormal investigators and we want to lead with science, you cannot be biased in your research. You can't be led by your religious beliefs. You kind of have to bring everybody to the middle of the road and go from there. And so, you know, my biggest thing is I've always stated, you know, we do need some protocols that we all abide by, that we all agree on. But that's the biggest problem is people don't want to agree on it. And then you throw in the egos out there as well. They are the ones that want to sit there and say, I know how it should be done, and it should be done this way. And if you don't agree with me, well, screw you. And so that is why we have so many different dividers in this field.
Jacob, what's your thoughts on that, about the divisions?
Yeah, so I mean, just to go off what Ross was saying, I would say when it comes to like the approach to ghost hunting, Yeah, I'm okay if people for the charter of their team wants to be like a religious based team, psychic based team, all that stuff. But when it comes to investigation protocol procedure, I agree that we need some structure there and some unifying experiments to run, approach to take. Like we call it the scientific method. What we do is not science. If like I'm a gadget guy, it's home and garden stuff that we're using. Let's be real, to detect these. But it's like, if you're going to do the equipment, at least please read the instructions manuals, because I will say with the gear, the makers do put out how to use the equipment correctly and in under what conditions they do. As it goes for egos, I haven't met too many folks. Actually, my experiences is when I've had some ego is when I've been ghost hunting, where someone does a ghost hunting tour and they didn't like me muscling in and doing a ghost hunt that way. But I would say there are certain protocols, procedures that ghost hunters across the world can use that should be agreed upon and kind of cemented as, this SOP, standard operating procedures of doing a ghost hunt in that regard. But like I said, I think you can conduct a ghost hunt the way that you want, based on your own objectives that you've set, and with some light guidance around it. So that's my take on it. Though I will say I'm actually pretty rigid with my ghost hunts, which Ross can agree to.
It takes more to convince him that he may have had a paranormal experience. But
It does,
the thing that I'm trying to say here, though, is the biggest problem we have, though, is when you are so diverse. Whenever we submit evidence to the public, we're always going to second guess it because we don't know how they operate as a team. What has influenced them and how they capture this is we're always going to be second guessing it, and that's going to make it more challenging to get the possible real evidence out there to the public, so that we have something to analyze and go from when we want to further our research.
Yeah, but I would say that part would come down to, that comes to the ghost hunting report being written, and there should be a standard way to write those, to put everything in the proper context, and also make availability of the evidence files. Then we can all, then we have a consensus that we're operating from, and that's what I would ask for.
True, gentlemen, but I mean, let me throw this at you. 98% of paranormal investigators can't tell you what they're investigating or what answers they're trying to solve. And Merle, and honestly, I use this as entertainment. And probably if Merle and I were not best friends, I don't know if I would actually do a paranormal show. Okay, but I do this for him because he is, I think, very talented, very knowledgeable, and I think he brings a consistent credibility to the paranormal field that we do with the people we bring in and everything like that. So,
Well, can I butt in there? Because
Yeah.
I have to say, getting to know Mike through these years, one thing I really like and respect about him is he's willing to listen.
Yes.
He's willing to sit down and discuss the situation and not get upset. Even if you were to say, I don't believe this is paranormal of something that he submitted, he's not going to get mad at you and say, well, screw you. You don't know what you're talking about. You run into that a lot. So to find people in this field that are willing to sit down and even have a healthy debate and discussion about some of these topics is awesome. You're on the right path.
Absolutely.
And we're all willing to learn. Even me, I'm willing to learn from you guys as well.
I got nothing to teach you, man. I got nothing to teach you. But
I find,
but the point. You want to talk? Okay.
I will talk. No, I was just gonna say about the evidence stuff, because I even catch myself when I'm reviewing evidence or team members are reviewing evidence, and we get cool clips. I'll be like, I'll change the word "cool" to audible clips. I automatically sometimes think, well, no one's gonna believe us because they weren't there, which kind of sucks in a way, because we're chasing. I don't want to say chasing the paranormal, but like when I run a ghost hunt, when I present to a client, I put my work hat on. I want to paint a story. I talk to judges all the time at work, so I try to present my evidence like that. Either it's evidence or it's not. And I will also present secondary evidence or it'll be, I will tell a client, well, I'm like, well, we got this on this type of gear, but in my opinion, it's not audible. But and things like that. But Ross is right. It's good for people to be open. Like if Ross says that's not a clip, that's you burping, or I think it could have been something else, a pipe, I'll be like, that's cool. And then I'll think about it, and then how I'll analyze that, I'll be like, well, maybe when I'm investigating next time, maybe I'll throw down another audio recorder, I'll throw down another camera. Like the clip I sent Ross and Jake on the break, I had 2 camera angles plus an audio recorder, and the innkeeper thought that his security camera, which was facing that door, was working, which wasn't because they were newly installed. So I was like, crap, that could have been 3 camera angles of this door opening.
Yeah.
But
And it's all a learning game. It really is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, with every investigation, you learn and you try to advance yourself for the next one, because we all learn from our mistakes. You know, I've always said there's no expert in this field, but it does come from experience.
True, but
and as more you do these investigations, the more experience you gain, and you learn how to do it better each time.
true,
100%.
but should you not have an end goal? That's one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the paranormal teams out there, Ross, is they don't have an end goal. You ask them, well, what do you do with your evidence? Well, we research it, we go through it. Well, what do you do with it when you're done? Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, there is no end goal. There are some amazing answers that we could be looking for. The main one being, is there life after death? Because the one thing we all have in common, no matter your race, your sexuality, your skin color, is we are all going to die. That is guaranteed. And I want to know that. I want to know.
And where we're lacking, where they don't understand, the end goal is to publish it.
Yes.
It needs to be out there. It needs to be available for all of us to review it, because we may have the chance to go to some of these places that other teams have investigated. And when we go into these places and we have similar or the exact same experience, all it does is build credibility for both teams. To say that we're both on the same page, we both capture this amazing experience, and now it also verifies that this is actually happening on the property. So we make everything more credible by publishing our experiences.
Agreed. I think this is what Brandon, if you remember when Brandon from Ghost Hunters A&E was on, I think he was talking about this, to get it published so we can go back, collect all of that data, and have more statistical significance in events occurring under certain conditions.
But I got to throw in there too, to be the devil's advocate, we need to publish the real phenomena, not this fake made up stuff that a lot of people are doing to get attention.
Well, you know,
That
there's
doesn't help
there's the YouTube clips, you know, and then there's the proper reports. I just find there's a dearth of people reporting what they've experienced in detail. At least usually you get the YouTube clip, right, to get on Nuke's top 5.
No, exactly, and that's a nice use of the word dearth. Just gonna drop that in there.
I try to use dearth as often as possible.
Yes, but the point that I'm getting at, guys, is we don't have solutions. I have no problem with people being weekend warriors, going to location to location to location, because you know what? For a lot, this is a hobby. They want a little bit of spookiness. They want that. They want to be that center of conversation. You know, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's in person, they want to make sure that everybody knows that they're the person who's large and in charge of the paranormal. We see it all the time in regards to this.
It's so annoying.
But the point that I'm getting at is, as someone who reports on this and brings those stories to the public, frankly, I don't care. I don't care if you don't have a solution that you are going for. You know, whether it's helping solve a mystery, whether it's life after death or someone's murder, or you're trying to get answers as to why there's, you know, in the middle of a forest, you know, there's an abandoned house and there's spirits in there, whatever it may be, there has to be conclusions at the end. Not just like, I've got an EVP or a door opened or, you know, I got pinched on the butt. I mean, that's all cool. It's all very, very cool. but that's a personal experience. It's not solving or advancing the paranormal field. And as a journalist and someone who looks over the paranormal side, that is one of my big beefs with the subject matter.
Well, the biggest problem is no one wants to put forth the work and the time. You know, you think a lot of people are under this assumption that you can solve the mystery within a 6-hour investigation. And you can't. A
No.
6-hour
Yeah.
investigation may just give you just a sliver or a hint at what could possibly going on, but it's a lot of going back repeatedly and doing the same thing over and over and over again to get these tiny little pieces of evidence to try and put that puzzle together. And sometimes you may never know what that puzzle is, because again, that information that we do collect when we're happen to be, you know, lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time, again, you have to throw that into the mix. It's still it's so much more challenging. But yet we're now looking at solutions where most ghost hunting teams want to use very suggestive devices that will give them what they believe are the answers to the mystery of who's haunting a location. And we just have to be open and honest about that. You're not always going to get, you know, the answer to who's haunting a location unless you get that one amazing Class A EVP where you ask, "What is your name?" and they give you first and last name. That's amazing. But to get that information is extremely rare.
Very true. Very true on that. And I understand that, but why do then we see this battle in the paranormal where so many people out there, it doesn't matter where they're located, whether it's in British Columbia or it's in New York or Toronto or LA, we still see this right across the board where, you know, we see these groups out there who are trying to lock down locations. They're trying to keep tabs on what everyone else is doing, Jake. They're trying to make sure that if somebody's investigating at a certain museum, that by God, we're going to call up that certain museum and find out what they're doing, and can we get in there to make sure that they haven't ruined anything or locked anything down. We see it all the time. It's almost childish behavior.
So I got to say, I have not experienced this phenomena, ghost hunting group phenomena. I have not. So I had to talk to Merle about it because I was just flabbergasted. I'm like, who can lock down a location? Are they paying for it? Because if they're not paying, there is no right to exclusivity here.
It blows my
So-
mind. People view locations like, you know, when we had the COVID toilet paper shortage, like they run to the locations like it's the last roll of toilet paper. And I don't understand it. Like I think with the whole para unity thing, I think it's cool. Like say a ghost goes into the Pink Palace, a hotel down here, and you guys get a bunch of cool evidence, and then Group B goes in the next weekend, they get some evidence, and then I go in and I get some evidence, or nothing. One of us gets skunked. But then it would be a perfect world if we could all meet and compare notes. Because what if those notes can connect the dots?
Right.
Instead, people put so much effort into doing underhanded moves to you, or trying to lock down locations, which is stupid.
A lot of it is jealousy. It really is.
100%.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's-
they want the claim to this place because they feel it's unique. It makes them stand out. It's like, oh, this is my castle, not yours. You know, so you get a lot of that. But, you know, as we've learned, and I've already discussed this, it's all about being at the right place at the right time. We don't have the opportunity to run to all these places in Canada. You know, so if we have an opportunity to investigate a place that you investigated, that's great. And it's better for you because you have the opportunity to investigate it a lot more than we could. And so, and then again, it all goes back to building that credibility in our field and sharing our evidence. So, you know, a lot of this, you know, territorial issues, and I've experienced it myself with a lot of groups, not even just in Washington, but in other states as well, because I travel all over. But it is challenging. But I also have to throw in the other factor is sometimes this comes from the fact that the people that own the location have had so many groups come in and have experienced so many bad groups that they end up trusting one group. And so it gets to the point where, okay, well, if anybody's going to investigate our place now, we're just going to let this group do it because we've just had too many problems with other groups that we've let into this spot. So that also becomes a factor in these territorial issues. It comes not necessarily from the group itself, but from the owners of the properties.
Very true, but it also shows an amount of ego if you're following groups, and you're spying on groups, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on social media like Instagram, or whether it's actually phoning up locations, Ross, to say, "Hey, is there a ghost team there?" and wondering if we could get in there too. Like you're trying to nip at their heels for no reason. There's a lot of room out there. There's a
There
lot of
is.
room. There's no need to be paranoid or egotistical about calling up a museum in order to make sure that you can get in there because someone else has been in there.
But
You
who
know,
has
but
the effort,
it's
like energy? Who has the energy to do that? Or
you
time?
know, it's all about marking your territory. For some of these people when
Yeah.
they are out there investigating, it's a dominance thing, I guess, for some people. They feel like they can outdo you because I've got this place on my belt and you can't do this place. So you have a lot of that as well. So it's very unfortunate. It really is, because then it just goes to show that these individuals that want to behave that way are not in it for the right reasons. Now, granted, there are groups out there that can ruin it for everybody, because they don't know how to perform professionally, or you get a lot of people that like to imitate, ghost adventures and be just disrespectful and
Mm.
and stir up a lot of problems. And that's only because the clients have to deal with the aftermath of having groups like that in their property, and they could stir up whatever's there and make it worse for them
Mhm.
if they don't handle
True.
things professionally.
It's like if I owned a museum,
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm charging these guys.
Yeah.
I'm literally, you want to come in and investigate my museum, which is most museums out there are nonprofit. I'm charging you, and be damned if I'm going to allow you to make me or try and convince me to sign a legalized document that you're the only ones who can investigate here. I mean, where's the modicum of respect for the history of
Hmm.
that? You know,
Hmm.
and if you are going to sign a contract with me, I need some major dough. Major dough,
Hmm.
because you're taking away a potential revenue stream for me. It's just like there's talk in my town of putting up a new museum in a building that, as far as I know, has never been investigated. And this is going to be incredible because there's rumors of the upstairs that the old religious cult that started my community had a harem of women who were locked upstairs.
Mm.
Wait, what? I gotta look up this town.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This town is screwed right up. Ross and Mike know. Ross and Mike know all too well, but that's the truth of it. And I actually contacted a retired politician who is running this to try and make it into a museum. And they know me from the ghost tour. And because we're not working with the original ghost tour anymore, I said, hey, we want to put our support behind this. And if we can raise money for the museum and or groups in the community like the food bank or anything to do with, single parents or seniors who would like some, help in the winter time or whatever, we're going to do it. We'd love to do it. But we'll get into the next conversation when we come back here on Spaced Out Radio. The Angry Ghost Hunter, Ross Allison, Jacob Rice, and of course Merle, as we continue on with Ghosts of the Great White North here on Spaced Out Radio. Merle joins me from the Paranormal Road Trippers at least once a month because he is that guy who drinks his water out of a jar. Me too, by the way. Big jar. But we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk some ghost stories. Let's turn it on up when we come back on Spaced Out Radio for hour number 2. All right, gents, I'm going to run the dogs out. Remember, YouTube is still live, okay?
So we can talk bad about you then?
Oh, of course you can. Of course.
We'll come up with your nickname.
Yeah. So I gotta say,
Merle, you've been trying for 3 years. It hasn't worked.
So I gotta say, when it comes to accessing sites, I'm all for having like places charge the ghost hunting teams because it puts a barrier up to entry. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Yeah.
I just miss the days when it used to all be free, you know? When back in the day, we could go into a lot of these places. And again, it was before ghost hunting was so popular. You know, you could get into a lot of these places and not have to pay the outrageous amounts that some of these places charge now.
Mhm.
But you know, I get it. You know, I have no problem paying to help and establish like a museum and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
I get
Totally.
that. I do. But some places it's just outrageous what they charge.
We do fundraisers a lot for historic places.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's
then they'll
good news.
usually let us investigate it like the following night or something. And I like giving back. Like that's a big thing for me.
No, that's great. It's
Is to
definitely-
keep everything active.
Yeah, kind of like what we do with Centralia. They do a
Mhm.
ghost tour, and we investigate historic downtowns, so a lot of pioneer downtown strip.
Mhm.
And then they do a ghost tour, and we play whatever evidence we collected from those ghost hunts
Nice.
for them.
Yeah, I'll
must-
do a lot of that if we have the opportunity, definitely, because I believe in trying to support and maintain and basically prevent these places from being forgotten or even torn down. You know, you see
Yeah.
a lot of these historic places just being lost to, you know, progress.
No, totally. Like for me, I've been trying to make YouTube videos, and each location, it's not about. I'm a big history guy. It's not just the paranormal. I'm trying to combine both, just as like an educational thing. Like the place I went to this past weekend, I'm gonna make them like a little 20-minute video where we're gonna talk about the location and then put a couple of our paranormal blips in it, and they're so grateful for that stuff because they can use it for advertising as well.
No, history is
Um,
so important,
Mhm.
and that's one of the reasons why when I do my tours or I write, you know, my books, I put a lot of history into it because you know history leads into the fact that why some of these places could very well be haunted.
Mhm.
You know, granted, we can't always assume that it's a historic figure that's haunting these places, but it at least paints a picture of what could possibly be going on there.
No, that's true. Good times. Oh, Jake,
Yeah.
I put the Polter tune through its paces.
Oh, you did. Yeah.
I did.
Just give me
I
some.
worked
Give me
it
some.
hard.
What's that?
I worked it hard.
Okay.
I got some pretty cool. I'll send you the video. I like when I edited it, but I got some pretty cool blips in one of the locations. Like it was, I'd
Okay.
give it was where they said like children spirits were,
Yeah.
and I put Boo Buddy on the ground,
Okay.
and
Perfect.
then about 5 feet, 3 to 5 feet, I put the Polter tune on the ground.
Uh-huh.
And I was getting audible answers. I was like, well, is it doing the, you know how it stays on sometimes?
Yeah.
So I turn it off and on. I go in front of it, it goes on.
Mhm.
I go away from it, it goes off. But my hand, like I'm testing it,
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, if the children are here, come back, please. And then Boo Buddy's hands light up, and then all of a sudden, the Polter tune goes off. Every question I was asking,
Mm.
about four or five questions. It's
So-
pretty neat.
So, were you using the Boo Junior or were you using the?
The big one.
Okay, that's the one that I use that asks its own questions.
Yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised. Like I don't it was just neat.
You know, I got to tell you, and sometimes I catch crap for it. I freaking love my Boo Buddy interactive. I do. Like you can talk to June. We've taken it ghost hunting where there would be child spirits, and one night in University Heights. I guess if we get to ghost stories, I can tell this one. But I was testing out a whole slew of gear in the basement, and Boo Buddy was the star gadget, and like I always try to get 5 data points. I got all 5 in that room.
Awesome.
So I can drop the report link on Ghostly. You can see the video. With it
Yeah,
going on.
and because there's the Boo Buddy and the Polter tune, they were
Mhm.
kind of jiving together, and they were far enough apart where if there was going to be any sort of interference, but
Yeah,
with
if
the
you're-
Polter tune, there wouldn't be interference.
Yeah, if you're like a good 4 or 5 feet, so
Yeah.
like 1.5 meters away
But it
from
was-
it, they wouldn't be interfering.
It was the questions like going off, and I was asking, and I was like, wow, It was just kind of neat to watch.
Yeah, I do love the boo.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, June, if you're listening.
June
We
is
love our boo.
listening. June is in the chat
Okay.
room. We love June around
I
here.
love June.
Yes.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yes.
We all know how Ross feels.
Just
I-
give me
she
a couple.
knows I
Give me a
love
couple
her.
of seconds. People in our chat room, you'll notice that we added a couple new wrenches in there, and that's because lately we've had a few trolls. I don't mind swearing in the chat room, okay, but don't make it towards anybody. There's no attacking guests. It's the same rules as before, but I'm just trying to alleviate. Between myself and Corrence, the booking guy, we're trying to alleviate just some work that we are continuing having to do because there's things that we may miss throughout. So, have some fun, enjoy the chat room, and just be respectful. That's all that we're asking. But if you swear and I really don't care. Just no bashing the guests, no bashing your fellow chatters. It's all about having fun. And hey, Human Carl's here, everyone. We love our veterans. We love our veterans who listen to the show. Human Carl, thank you for joining us. Thank you to Eric and Cat Chaser for the awesome super chats. Here we go with hour number 2, everyone.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Blarney. Blarney is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Ghosts of the Great White North. Merle is back for another month from the Paranormal Road Trippers just outside Vancouver, British Columbia, and from Seattle. We got Jacob Rice. We got Ross Allison from A.H.O.S.T. Gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight.
Always good to be here.
Yep.
Great, Dave.
Great to be here.
Thanks, Merle. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Anyways,
Ross.
let's get to some spookiness because the last half hour we were kind of breaking down, and we're going to be doing a lot more of that with our show here that we're going to be putting on our YouTube, which is called The Angry Ghost Hunter, that Ross is going to bring on some friends like Jacob and Merle. Myself, I might be there every now and again just to hang out and say hello, I'm the stupid ghost guy, but we're going to be doing that on our YouTube channel live here very, very soon. We'll let you know what the scheduled date is for the start of that. We just got to do some testing with our gear here. But gentlemen, I want to ask you in regards to ghosts. Each and every one of you has had an experience that we cannot explain, and that to this day still dumbfounds you. Jacob, since you're the newbie around here, let's ask you in regards to this. Do you have a certain experience that you've had on the field that just really, really still bugs you to today?
Yeah, so I do have two. So if I talk about an actual ghost hunt that I was investigating, this would be, you want me, is it okay to spiel the names of the locations and
go right
everything?
ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. So this was probably in 2012, 2013 now. I was doing an investigation at the Congress Plaza Hotel in Chicago. Chicago's my second hometown. Love you, Chicago, if you got any Chicagoans out there. And me and my BFF, Celine, she founded Ghostly Activities with me. We had gone into this big classic Art Deco hotel. So if you're not familiar with the Congress Plaza Hotel, it's the World Exhibition Hotel if you've read Devil in the White City. So it's built for the World's Fair. And Celine and I were on the 3rd floor of the South Tower. And it's kind of this lobby area. You walk down some stairs and you'll be in the main lobby. And while we were there, we were getting ready to wrap up for the night. So it had to be about 3 a.m. And it was actually, Celine had the experience. I just captured it on tape. But she was like, we have nicknames. She called me G. That's short for G Money Hustler. I was very influenced by New Jack City. We'll just leave that there. And she said, there's something going on. And, I turned around and she's just standing in the middle of the floor. So, of course, there's me. I've got a recorder in one hand and an EMF meter in the other one. The classic MERLE 8704R for all the gadget geeks out there. And she's like, I feel cold. I feel staticky. I think something's with me. And so I go over to her and there's no ventilation. But when I took the MERLE and I put it up to her for like a temperature reading and to do EMF, it was 15 degrees colder Fahrenheit. So what's that, like 7-8 degrees colder Celsius around her versus the rest of the room. And I'm like, okay, let's do some EVP. And we did proceed to do an EVP session. And one of the questions, I had her asking the questions and she was going through this experience. And this was captured on the recorder. She's like, are you a little boy? Because she's a mother, right? At the time, she had a bunch of kids between like the ages of 8 and 13. So, the motherly instinct. On tape, we got the name James. He was 5 and he was looking for his daddy. So when I did the research for the hotel, it turned out, I think it was in 1919, a group of Russians attacked Irish mobsters in that location, and a little boy named James was killed in the shootout. So that was probably like my first big wow moment when it came to a ghost hunt, even though technically I didn't personally experience it because it came through Celine, but I captured the ghostly activity out of it, pun intended with the ghost site, right? And the other one was when I was in my apartment in Chicago, and this is Edgewater Beach. So if you're familiar with Chicago, I lived in one of those mid-rises. Used to be a hotel back in the day on the North Shore, about Foster and Sheridan. And I was in my elevator. It locked down. It got caught between the 6th and 7th floors. So I hit the button to contact the elevator folks. And the elevator started to rattle. I'm like, oh, great. This is my final destination moment. But there was this brilliant light that came into the room, and I felt this really weird vibration type thing. And by the way, I was about 32 when this happened. Okay. So well into to adulthood. And I just kind of yelled at it to go away. And then it stopped. And then the speaker, the person, the maintenance guy, was responding to me and said that they had the elevator crew coming to get me out. So that one I could never really explain what was going on there. And I wasn't drunk or anything. It happened like 2:30 in the afternoon. Some random Saturday. It was a weekend, I believe. Anyway, those are like my 2 really weird events that I've experienced. But well into adulthood. Nothing really happened to me as a kid.
How about for you, Merle?
Ghost stories.
One or
me,
2, right?
And a few. One that sticks out for me was actually the 108 Mile Ranch. Went to investigate. It was just Sandra and I doing an investigation there alone. The draw. And for whatever reason, we were hesitant to go inside. We sat in the car, stared at the 108 Mile Ranch, but wasn't feeling it. Just something was keeping us hesitant. And so we went down the old Tim Hortons, classic Canadian, and got a couple ice caps and drove around. Yep, it was good. Drove around for a bit. And then we went back to the location because we were like, well, we drove up to 108 Mile Ranch to investigate this place, so poop or get off the pot. And so we keep looking at it. And then we get out of the car finally, and all of a sudden we hear yelling coming from inside. And we were like, what the hell? Because I have the keys, and the building, the post house we were going to investigate was completely locked. So I tell Sandra, I'm like, Sandra, turn the camera on just in case we see like weirdos in there or something could be going down. And so she turns the camera on and we go up to unlock it and we still hear voices inside. And when I go to unlock it, the door kind of rattles like somebody was trying to open it. So my spidey senses go up. We're like, oh God, here we go. And I open the door and I did the whole classic cobweb feeling. Ghost hunters say they have experienced, and I experienced that there. And that entire night, we got a lot of weird EVPs. But what stays in my mind the most is I question people seeing things, seeing ghosts or images in their heads. Maybe that's what mediums do when they say they see dead people or they see demons or spirits or whatever. But halfway through the investigation, I got really frazzled because I could see what looked like a burnt person standing in the corner with almost yellowy, really white colored eyes. And I kept wanting to go upstairs because the post house is 2 levels. I, for the life of me, could not go upstairs. And whenever I think about the vision of the person that looked burned, like crisp, I get like creeped out to this day. Like the hairs on my arms are standing up now. That one really sticks out.
Well, don't forget the name calling.
Yeah, it was dropping your name, old Davey Scott's name, Mark Spender's name. You guys came up after and did another investigation with me. It wasn't as heavy, I love the term heavy. It's just how I feel when I go into places that I feel will have a lot of activity. And yeah, you came and we did an investigation after. It was, I think you even were doing the play-by-play on the radio at that night.
Well, it was after I got off the radio because you had texted me saying, dude, whatever's here is calling my name and it's called for you now twice. So it called my name twice, your name 3 times, and Mark's twice.
Yeah.
And then Sandra's once, I believe.
Yeah. And then this past weekend, I think I had one of the coolest ghost experiences. Probably the second time I've talked about it now tonight, but now we're on air, not just YouTube. Was we were setting up to do an investigation in one of the rooms, and the door opened basically on command. When I said, "If there's anything here, let yourself know," and we heard a loud bang on the door, some fall, and the door just cracked open about 2 inches. That was pretty. That one's gonna stay in my head for a while. It was just really neat to experience.
How about for you, Ross?
Oh my God, you want to hear mine again? I've actually had, a couple unique experiences. One's a long story, so I won't get into that one. But my first experience is when we investigated Alcatraz. And this is I shouldn't say my first experience, my first physical experience. So we were one of the first groups back in the day to actually spend the night on the island. And they took us to a bunch of locations that weren't open to the public. And one of those was the morgue. And so they unlock the door, they take us into the morgue, and this is where they'd keep the bodies before they'd ship them over to San Francisco. Now, connected to the morgue is this tunnel that goes down into the underground. Because if you're not familiar with Alcatraz's history, it actually started out as a military base. And so where this tunnel's going to is an underground compartment where they used to keep the gunpowder because they had to keep it cool. So I am the first one to venture down through this tunnel. I get into that little room. It's just an empty room with a dirt floor, brick walls and an arched brick ceiling. So I start taking pictures. Now, at that moment, the members are starting to follow in behind me. So I want to get a picture of the entrance. And so I back up to get the widest angle that I could. And as I'm backing up, one of the members puts their hand on my shoulder to stop me. And so I turned to apologize to them so that, it's like, oh, I didn't mean to back you into the corner. And as I turned to apologize to them, there was nobody there. And I was just in shock because I was expecting to see one of my members standing behind me. And it's one of those things that, I just kept playing back and forth in my head because I felt a man's hand on my shoulder. I felt the pressure of his fingers. And again, it physically stopped me as I was taking a step backwards. And to turn and see nobody behind me was just one of those amazing experiences that validated to me that when, you know, people claim that they have a physical encounter, it's just like people really do. This can happen to people. So for me, that was my first.
For me, I remember a story. I was out ATVing with some buddies, and I'll tell you 2 ATV stories. And the first time we were climbing up this hill that was pretty steep, and I was the lead bike, and I always had one of my buddies who was always tailgating me. Like if I were to all of a sudden have to stop, always bump into me. And we're climbing up this steep hill, and all of a sudden my ATV starts to stall out. And it's so this hill is so steep that literally my front end starts to come up on my ATV. And a foot and a half away from me is a drop like 300 feet. And so I quickly jump off my bike because I'm trying to get control of it. My bike starts rolling down and I hit something. And I yell at my buddy behind me. I said, "Get out of the way. You're always tailgating me. You know, my bike, I have no control of my bike. Like, I don't want to lose it right now." Right? Because I'm looking at a 350-foot drop. And my buddy comes running up and says, "It's not me. I hit something that was behind me. I hit something. And there's no trees, no roots, no rocks sticking out. I hit something because my bike stopped. I felt it stop. And when I got off my bike or my ATV and looked behind me, their bikes were like 12 and 15 feet behind me. It was the weirdest thing. But the following year, I almost died on my ATV because I went riding with people that I didn't know. I knew them. I'd ridden with them before. I was comfortable with them riding, but that entire way up to the place where we were riding, I had that little voice in my head that kept on saying to me, "Today's not a good day to ride. Turn around, go home." And I'm like, "No, I just waited all winter to go for a ride. This is my first ride of the year." 15 minutes into our ride, I rolled my ATV down a mountain and destroyed my ATV. I was right at the top. My ATV ended up about 250 feet down the mountainside. And all I had to do was listen to that little voice that said, "Don't ride today. It's not a good day to ride." But I was selfish. Now I listen to that voice. If that voice creeps up in my head, I'm like, "Okay, we're not doing that."
Danger
really
sense, like Spider-Man.
Yeah, there really is something to that phenomena, that fight or flight phenomena that people experience. You know, that you really do need to trust your gut feelings in some of these experiences that we have.
Oh man, that one was very expensive. That was very expensive because here's the thing. We get my bike out. It is totally destroyed. I bring it to my friend who's a mechanic. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'll rebuild it. I'll get the parts." Cost me like $4,000 to fix it up. And after he fixes it, I'm like 2 days away from going to pick it up. Somebody rips it off from his yard.
Oh. Oof. Yeah.
Never to be seen again. It was like, damn, that really sucked. That was an expensive lesson. All because I didn't listen to that inner voice. Now I listen to that inner voice. All right. Let's see here. Do we have any questions from our chat room? No, not yet. So let's move on here. With these spooky stories that you guys have, we got about 5 minutes before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. We hear these kind of stories all the time. How much credence do we put into these type of stories and events? Because in other fields, a story is just a story. There's no evidence to it. So how much credence do we put in verbal stories like this? Merle,
well, that's the biggest problem. I was going to say, well, that's the biggest problem we have in this field is because we're not collecting enough data to validate our experiences. So it is just stories for us to tell. We need to make sure that when we are going into these haunted locations that all the equipment's running. The cameras are always going.
Yeah.
In fact, my team's protocol is we do not turn off our cameras until we get to our car. The cameras, the tape recorders, they all have to keep going from the moment you step on the property until you leave.
I would say leave the cameras on until you get home because you never know what follows you.
That's possible too. So yeah. But I think that's one of the biggest downfalls that we have to this is because we're not always trying to capture that phenomena. And so but then there's always that, what I always say, that teasing moment where when they know that the cameras are off, things will happen,
I call those boo moments.
I find a lot of good EVPs come when you're just yapping with your team.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, because let's be real. I mean, if ghosts exist, because we haven't agreed what they are and stuff. I mean, we're talking about living people. You're chumming it up, having a good time with your crew and peeps. That reminds them of their life. And of course, we're speculating because we don't really know what's going on in that other world, if it exists. And that's a perfect kind of contact to have casual conversation with your boys, your crew. Why not chime in?
Well, this leads to a question in our chat room from Crow Creek, who's asking, have any of you ever had activity at your home after an investigation?
Yes.
Yes.
I have. And but it usually doesn't stick around very long. It's only happened a couple of times for me.
What's that like? What's that like to bring something home?
Creepy.
Is this a one-night stand? I'm like,
I always kick out my tricks when the duty's done. It was a little creepy. In my case, it was, again, with my BFF Celine back in Chicago. Got back, we were just doing something to wrap up. So I'm just like, I had the EVP recorder on, my digital recorder, and Celine and I, we're finally having a little wine after it, and Wally is one of my pit bulls. I have 3 pit bulls, and he did the classic, looked up in the corner at nothing and just went ballistic. And I asked, is someone here with us? And then when I played back the audio, I got sure on it.
Wow.
But then like nothing from that point on with that. It's only happened twice out of 200 ghost hunts or something like that. So I'm not too worried about it.
How about for you, Merle?
I have. I think I brought some stuff home. I opened myself up to that though for the experiences and the research. I've heard after investigation at a residential house, like a private one, and I heard growls in my living room for about a week after.
Oh wow.
And the thing with that is that was one of the claims from our client. She was hearing growls in her living room and in her, like, I guess, spare room. And my God, was it creepy? Because it's audible. It would sound like a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd go out and look. I'm like, well, there's no dog. And then I could try and find the EVP. I even laid some audio, and I got the growl. But then I did the classic, you're not welcomed here. Get out of my house, go wherever. And it was gone after about a week.
For me, I think what has protected me from that phenomena is I always make my intent known when I get to the property. And then when I get to my car, I just say out loud, thank you for allowing me to be in your space. I hope you took the time to communicate to me, but this is where you belong. So stay here, and hopefully I'll be back. And I think just with that closing statement, and also being respectful when I go to these haunted places, my intent is not to try and antagonize whatever's there, because I think that is an open invitation for them to be like, yeah, I'm going to get you. Probably not here, but I'll get you.
Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. As we go to break at the bottom of the hour, Ross Allison, Jacob Rice from A Ghost in Seattle have joined Merle for Ghosts of the Great White North. We'll continue the paranormal talk right after this on Spaced Out Radio. There we go, guys. We're clear.
Okay, so yeah, Celine and I, we totally invited it back. Totally. We were at it was an old saloon, kind of speakeasy, and it's now a restaurant. So we got to do like just a 2-hour investigation because they were getting ready to rehab it and stuff, and we totally
we got drinks back at our place. Why don't you come along? Come on.
pretty much.
Yeah, why not?
We're like, hey, this used to be a saloon. You know, come back with us. Like, I'll make a Manhattan for you.
There you go. There you go.
I'm just going to quickly do my promo here for Mighty Moose Beard Oil, one of our sponsors. You know, got to take care of the beard, people. Got to take care of the beard, and this is how I do it using Mighty Moose Beard Oil, made in Chilliwack, British Columbia. All natural, all beautiful, no chemicals. You know, Gary the Dutchman is the dude who supplies me with this, and he supplied many listeners of Spaced Out Radio, both men and women. For the women, you don't have to wear it in your beard because you probably don't have one, but it's great for the hair. It's great for the hair. It stops the split ends. Okay, make sure that you don't get any split ends, and it keeps your hair hydrated because there is no chemicals. It's a beautiful thing. Gary the Dutchman, by the way, will actually give you a deal. When's the last time a Dutch person gave you a deal on anything? It never happens. But Gary the Dutchman says if you use promo code SOR 2019, that's when he started, he is going to give you a discount on your purchase. Remember, it's all in Canadian dollars too. So when you go to the website, remember that's Canadian bucks. So if you're in the US, you're saving money. Go to MightyMooseBeard.com. Check out the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. It feels great, smells great, looks great, and it's good for you too. Mighty Moose Beard, SOR 2019. Use the promo code today. There we go. Now I'm done.
No, it's awesome. What's the scent?
I'm using the winter blend right now. It's very pepperminty. Smells like candy cane. It's very nice. Very nice.
Ross is going to need some.
I know. It's getting nice and long.
I'm going to grow a beard just so I can use that.
Mm-hmm.
I got a creepy story for top of the hour when we're back on.
Merle, just looking at you, it's a creepy story.
Absolutely is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how are we doing so far?
Yeah, I think we're doing great. You know, there's been a number of requests in the chat room for Merle t-shirts.
Does it have his likeness on the t-shirt?
Well, I'll tell you, I made a nice Merle t-shirt.
I still owe him a logo.
See if I
You're also going to make me a logo.
See if I still have it on my phone here. Hold on. I may have accidentally erased it.
No, it's not that good of a shirt then.
Well, no, I have it on social media. All right, I know where I got it.
Ross, you gotta buy June one. June said she'd wear a Merle shirt.
Oh, I'll totally get a Merle shirt.
In the chat.
June will wear anything. Come on.
There's the logo. I don't know if you can see that.
I just see. Oh, okay. There's a little ghost there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the Merle logo coming soon. It would turn that sideways. Oh no, it's not gonna work.
Oh yeah. I saw that on the social media.
Yeah.
I'm totally gonna buy one.
Yeah, you gotta love the Merle. You gotta love the Merle.
Everyone needs more Merle in their life.
Exactly.
Everyone needs a Merle.
That's why it's all Merle all day, all night long.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, I get tripped out watching your YouTube and then watching you on Skype.
Why?
Delay.
Yeah.
Well, there is I think it's about a 10-15 second delay. If that.
What we can talk about next hour.
Well, you said you had a spooky story you wanted to share. So I guess that's where we're going.
Or we'll start. Yeah.
Yeah. If Merle was a dancer, he would dance Merlesque.
You heard of dad
that
jokes?
that was very dad joke worthy, right?
His wine is Merlot.
So, any ideas on when the borders might open up?
I actually read a report that the U.S. government, a bunch of governors on the East Coast, are pushing for as early as May 31st and as late as July 31st, somewhere in there, to get things going. And the big thing that they're pushing is because of the relatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a big one. So, thank you, Chris Reap, Eric, and Cat Chaser for the awesome super chats. We're going to kick off the second half of the show right now. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Ghosts of the Great White North from the Paranormal Road Trippers, just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia. We have Merle, and from Seattle, Washington. I see you laughing every time I say that, Ross. Merle. We got Ross Allison and Jacob Rice from A.G.H.O.S.T down in Seattle. Everyone, welcome back to the show. Merle, you have a spooky story you want to share with the audience.
I do, but first, Ross, would you prefer a ghost or a ghost?
A ghost.
A ghost, okay.
Or a ghost. I say a ghost. It's just however you pronounce the A, I guess, you know.
All right. So, spooky story. This happened this past weekend. So, the town I went to, we were talking about earlier, Powell River. Coastal town, not a big population. You have to take a handful of ferries to get there. I'm related to probably 30% of the town. I have a lot of family up there. And they all knew I was coming up, but I didn't see any of them because COVID ruins everything. And on our last night ghost hunting, we went into that building I was talking about, the Rodmay area. And that's where we kind of felt icky feelings, and we felt it after. But the next day, my aunt called me, who lives up there. And she's like, were you guys still ghost hunting last night? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, my alarm went off at 11:27 a.m. last night. My right arm was covered in scratches. And I was like, that's weird. So was it a paranormal hit? I don't know.
Revenge.
But it's just kind of it's just a weird coincidence being up there doing paranormal research and then something happening like that to a family member.
Mm-hmm.
So
it is.
We have an in joke with a ghost. Anything like that, we go, it's demonic.
Yeah.
Always. It's always demons.
Always.
I have a question,
right?
Gentlemen, coming from the Ukrainian watermelon, little Ronnie Moniuk.
I love Ron.
In Saskatchewan. Ron, since it's flat where you are, please wave to the entire world that's listening to this show right now. They will be able to see you. And so let's get to Ron's question. He is asking, how do you guys deal with an entity if people need help? What do you do?
Well, you know, that's a tough situation because you really have to, again, it all gets down to the research. You know, what's the purpose? Why is it there? And we still lack that understanding, that communication with the other side. When it comes to an intelligent haunting, I've always told people that if you are dealing with something that is intelligent and it seems to be responding to you, it's not necessarily where a lot of people want, you know, the cleansing to get rid of it. And I don't necessarily believe in cleansings, but I do believe that there is some sort of a counseling session that you may have to verbally communicate with whatever's there to help it to understand what's going on. And that could be dialogue that you have day after day, constantly reminding of whatever's there of the situation. If you don't want it there, just reminding it every day that, I appreciate that you're here. I understand that you may have a message. If you could pass on that message, that's great. But if not, you need to move on. And just constantly doing that, I have found that with cases where people were dealing with an intelligent entity, that actually helped to have it move on. It's just that constant day after day reminder. But then there's also the situation where people who not necessarily are afraid of what's there, don't mind sharing the environment, but they'll put out rules. They'll say out loud, say, it's great that you're here. We don't mind sharing our home with you, but if you could do whatever you want to do after a certain amount of time, let's say, when we're at work, you could be as loud as you want, but when we're home, just please, give us our peace and quiet. And that situation has helped clients as well. But again, it's that constant day after day reminding whatever's there of what your needs are. So I think that has helped in situations.
Very true. When you go into a home, though, where people are having activity, Merle, how does the game change from going, say, to a museum compared to going into somebody's residence?
It changes. You want to learn your environment before you go. Because a lot of people will solicit you for entertainment. A lot of people will solicit you because they're lonely. A lot of people will solicit you because they're hearing things in their head. But then a lot of people will solicit you because they genuinely are having an issue with the paranormal. So what our team does is we have a list that we like a ton of questions. We may basically interview our clients, and I find that that's big because it'll kind of paint a picture of what you're walking into, which we don't do for museums because we kind of know what we're walking into for museums. And what I like to do, especially with our clients, is I won't go investigate for 2 weeks unless they say it's an emergency or something. But I like them to log the daily activity of their paranormal occurrences. And I find either people will do that religiously for you or they won't, and then they kind of phase off in like about a week.
If they truly want your help, they'll be willing to do the work.
That's what it comes down to. If you want our help, you need to work with us, and we're not just going to come in and spray some water on you saying that you're healed and then leave. But like for aftercare, because I find aftercare is a big deal with doing residential investigations. I don't clear houses. I don't. That's not my jam. I don't know what Ross was saying earlier about. For me, it's intent. If you don't want a ghost there, just tell it's your house. It's your house. You can set rules. You can tell people to go, or spirits to leave. But for me, I do believe in sage. Maybe it's my ancestry, but I sage myself and I feel better. So maybe that's how I roll after investigating, and I find that when I have been followed home, that kind of stops it for me. But that could be my intent of how I deal with spirits to not be around me. But yeah, that's kind of how we do the residentials up here.
I used to spray myself with holy water, but it just burns. Oh my God.
That's the problem. I knew it.
Well, that's because you don't bathe, Ross. So just the dirt coming off.
Is that flesh down there? Oh my God.
What?
But again, it's all about the intent of like, because like of what you said earlier about how to rid people of the spirits in that. If you believe in holy water, that is your weapon. If you think that's going to work, put that in your room, write crosses on your walls with the holy water. If you think sage is going to work, that's your wheelhouse. If you think,
but it's just like the placebo too, the placebo effect. If you believe that by taking the sugar pill, you're going to be cured of whatever ails you, it will work. There's the power of the mind.
Mm-hmm. But that's what it means. It's a kind of an intent of backing. So you believe it more in wanting to fix your place after.
Yeah. So I think you guys are hitting it because on my website, I get asked this question all the time, how to get rid of spirits and stuff. So I do have articles on stones and saging and herb, occult-esque stuff. And I find some people just need to go through a ritual to boost their confidence, and having a good barrier, like psychic barrier, which I'm not really that kind of metaphysical type investigator, but just having confidence in yourself and a strong belief can help clear out a lot of these negative entities.
But then that also goes into the fact, and again, I'm playing the devil's advocate here, is it a psychological aspect of a haunting rather than a true haunting, you know? Because people get it in their head that once they think they're experiencing something paranormal, they automatically think it's a ghost or a demon, whatever their beliefs are. And so are we doing more of a psychological cleansing than an actual physical cleansing? You know, that's something that again, we have to explore and have a better understanding.
You know, and recently, my buddy Little Marky Spender and I did a case here locally where we went to an elderly lady's house. She lives alone. She's 83 years old, and she keeps hearing music. There's no music being played, but she claims to hear it. And, you know, we went to her place. We cleansed her place. We ended up finding out there were two spirits there. One of her ex-husband, who didn't treat her very well, and we pushed him away. And we did one where her sister had arrived, and the music disappeared because you'd see the calm on her face. But a few days later, all of a sudden, about a week later, my phone started to ring again. The music is back. The music is back. Mark went back there, calmed it down for a couple of days. And I'm in firm belief that it wasn't music that was haunting this elderly, beautiful woman. It was her own loneliness that was causing it. Because when you are all alone, her children don't live in town. Actually, no, her nieces and nephews. She didn't have children. You know, there's nobody around but her and her neighbors. Like, that is her life. And it's sad in a way. It's very sad in a way. But I think that's where it comes down to more attention and imagination of being alone than it is actual ghosts.
Being left with your own thoughts to still, yeah,
Bingo.
I can totally see that.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Let's get to a question from Kira here, guys, because she has a question. Do you ever have spirits contact you before you go into an investigation?
I have not.
I was going to say no. You know, my team is really good at trying to remain cold before going in an investigation site. So we're pretty strict with our protocols that no one's to know any information about where they're going. When they sign up for an investigation, all they're given is what city it takes place in, and if it's a private home or a business. So there's usually only one individual, the team lead, that will actually know any information about the haunted location we're going to. So, so I've never had a situation where something has reached out from beyond to communicate to us prior to the investigation. Now, I have worked with a few psychics in the past where they have made claims that they may have gotten something prior to the investigation site. I've had some where they'll do write something down of what they think about the site before they get there. But yeah, that for us, that would be a little more extremely rare.
How about for you, Merle?
I haven't had that happen before. I've had I've had mediums give me warnings, which a couple times were accurate. Like, be careful when you go to this location because this may happen to X person. And yeah, I've had that happen, but no premonition style things.
And Jacob, you're sitting there with your arms crossed, so you got nothing.
I got nothing.
You got
nothing on that.
I gotta ask you.
He's about as psychic as a rock.
I am about as psychic as a rock. This is why I use gadgets.
Guys, I want to ask you about skepticism here. Okay, because I think it's fantastic to be skeptical. But I think there's a large group of people, whether it's in the paranormal, the cryptid world, the UFO world, who are just, I'm so skeptic that they don't want to believe what happens right in front of them. And, you know, I kind of laugh that when I go through a lot of these paranormal teams' websites, when you go through their team members, because to me that's one of the biggest laughs I get. There's always the man or the woman kind of standing there, photo with their arms crossed, all serious, and the first sentence in their bio is, "I'm the team skeptic." Do you really need a team skeptic? Should we not all be skeptical for ourselves, or
Yes.
or is it the fact that we just need a title so bad that we've bent on down into the sludge to find the skeptic title?
As a paranormal investigator, everybody should have a fair share of skepticism. You don't want to just point at every little thing and say, "Oh, that's definitely a ghost," and "I heard that's a ghost." So skepticism is a huge thing that should be a major part of your investigation. In fact, it was funny when I was doing my Angry Ghost Hunter show back in the day. I had written a blog about who's afraid of the big bad skeptic, because I was reached out by the Skeptic Society to come out and do a lecture on ghosts, and I said, "Sure, I would love to." And they were kind of shocked that I would agree to do this, because apparently they had reached out to so many ghost hunting groups all over to try and find somebody to talk about ghosts to them, and everybody turned them down. And I was just like, why? I think skepticism is a very valid tool to the ghost hunter, because it's so easy to label something as paranormal. It's a lot more work to try and debunk what you think is a paranormal experience. And as we've learned, a lot of people don't want to do the debunking.
Mm-hmm.
And so by having a skeptical point of view, it just helps you to look at other elements that you may have easily overlooked. So I'm all for skepticism when it comes to an investigation, but then you also have to deal with the fact that there are people that are just so far skeptical that there's nothing you could bring to the table that's going to convince them that there could be some paranormal happenings.
Mm-hmm.
But do we really need a member of a team coming out on their bio? Everybody should be skeptical.
Everybody should have a skeptical.
It's part of the debunking process. I mean, the way I approach things when I get something going off or I capture something on camera, I use Occam's razor. What would be the most logical reason for it? But I still want to prove that that's the actual reason. Just because I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was just a car driving by, a shadow got caught, but was it really?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of skepticism I use when I approach it. So, you have to disprove the most normal reason.
And there are some times I will admit to this, that Jake will have an experience on an investigation, and then later he starts to doubt that experience, and I kind of have to sometimes bring him back in and say, it's great that you want to be that skeptical, but sometimes it's okay to say, maybe there is something there.
So this happens with the subjective personal experiences, and I'll doubt that because I am more about explicit data, empirical type evidence versus a subjective or a feeling. There have been cases, and I don't know why this is, but Bob Foster on our team, shout out to Bob. Whenever we go on a ghost hunt, we usually end up having this. If we have it, there's a subjective experience, Bob and I have it. But we don't, one of the things we do is we don't discuss what kind of experiences we've had until after the ghost hunt. We'll write it down and stuff. Don't get me wrong.
I make my team write everything down, not verbally state everything.
But as we're going through the evidence, like from the Walker Ames house in Port Gamble to down to Centralia, whenever Bob and I are together, we usually can vouch for our personal experience. One time we had 3 dudes with the same personal experience. That was in Centralia. So.
How about for you, Merle? We haven't heard from you in a while.
I don't like the word skeptic. I'm going to change the word in the field, and we're going to call it analytical.
Yeah. Rational.
better. My favorite thing is like, because I've done a lot of fundraisers for heritage sites, and you get the big skeptic guy coming in with like their flat brim hat, and they're all like, "This is all bull crap, and this is dumb. I'm skeptical. This is all." But there's this one time this happened to me not too long ago. They all are a believer. Something's always happened to all of them.
Well, it's funny too. Even when you look at those teams where they claim to be skeptical, they're the ones the first to cry demon. I've seen that happen quite a bit. Like, wait, I thought you were the skeptic, but now you're like, oh, a demon grabbed me.
Do you think being a skeptic is a kind of like a paranormal catchphrase?
I think some people have made it that.
I think so.
Yeah.
We see it a lot here. It's like the minute I see and I'm going back on what I know, okay? And the one thing that I know is that the minute I see a paranormal team claiming they are conducting scientific investigation, I know that they're a weekend warrior group who 9.5 times out of 10, their members have not conducted a scientific experiment since probably grade 9 or 10 in high school. Okay, that's just the reality of it. And if I think this field would be way better off if we could eliminate 3 words: demon, skeptic, and science. Because there are very few that are actually conducting scientific investigation. When you ask them, are you working in a controlled environment? Half the teams out there, this is true, don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, I'm so troubled by that. So troubled. It's like a record that keeps skipping. And you keep hitting that part, and you got to move the needle, but you don't. You just let it keep skipping and skipping and skipping and skipping.
Well, I will have to say, I would love to keep the term scientific in this field. But again, like you said, there's not enough of those teams that are doing that or know how to do that, how to conduct a scientific investigation. You don't see a lot of teams, doing a lot of experiments.
There's a lot of good scientific research on the phone apps, though. They have so many meters and readings.
I know, it's true. It's true. We're behind. Oh my God, we got to get up to date on all those apps. I tell you.
I do test out the apps too, just because I'm the gadget guy, so I check it out. But for what we do when we're doing our experiments, I just simply view us as anomaly hunters, because that's really all you can get is something weird, wonky that occurs, and see if you can repeat it under with similar conditions elsewhere. But it's always changing. So how could it be scientific? There is, like you were saying, Dave, there is no control. So all you can do is say you're documenting something weird that happened.
That's exactly it. And using technology is not being scientific. So if you're using a K2 meter, or you're using a MERLE meter, or you're using an SLS camera, that's, even though science made those items, it's still not scientific.
I would still walk around with a MERLE meter.
No, what makes it scientific,
I'm done with the MERLE.
What makes it scientific, though, is the data collecting.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot of these teams lack, is collecting enough data to support their experiences. We need more data collecting. And it's frustrating because, again, also, too, people are under this assumption that there is a device that's going to tell you your house is haunted.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. And I'm constantly telling people the best we can do as paranormal investigators is to collect the devices that help us to read the environment and let us know if there's changes in the environment that we can't explain. That is the best we can do.
Yeah, and so the other thing is, even though you've got the SLS and the K2, it's not actually recording the data. Yeah. There are no data points with those. I think there's only a couple of gadgets. Like Eddie Plus is the only one that comes to my mind right now, which, just measures atmospheric.
I forgot to press record on the EDI Plus during one of my
heresy
last weekend, and
give me your Ghost Hunting card.
The first name that popped in my head. I'm like, Jake wouldn't be happy.
Gentlemen, we only have half an hour left with you guys. We are going to go to break here on Ghosts of the Great White North at the top of the hour. from the Paranormal Road Trippers, my good co-host, Merle. He doesn't need a last name. We got Ross Allison and Jacob Rice joining us from A.H.O.S.T down in Seattle. We got them for another 30 minutes before we get to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues after this. You know, the only time that I can never forgive Merle for forgetting to turn the recorders on was when we were in the forest and Bigfoot talked to us.
Yep, gotta turn it on.
Yeah, Merle forgot to turn it off or turn them on. And here we are. Like right in front of us. No.
It's a surreal thing.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Yeah, so that just like gets my goat, even like with an SLS, because you can record it and it's just there's no data points with it. You just get an illustration that, you know, it's probably error handling in the device that's creating the shape, because that's what it's designed to do. But yeah, it's really just the Eddy Plus, I think, is the only one that you can really get a good minute by minute, you know, second by second output.
I got some cool EMF spikes with the EDI this past weekend. That's the first time I used it.
Yeah. So the other thing that this is a gotcha with that device that kind of gets my goat, and Ross, we had this when we did the Olympia investigation, the last one, is we only saw the thing flicker a couple of times, you know, it did a reading and EMF change. But when I looked at the data afterwards, you saw the ghost hunt report. There was way more EMF activity happening. It just, you know, the display didn't change. But at least the Eddy recorded.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
Ross,
I mean, we saw it in retrospect, but.
But I was going to say, you know, one of the other things that I'm very proud of, and we should be using it a lot more, is our Spectre system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's another data logging system that we do that no other team does out there. And I would like to see, you know, something like that, and hopefully we'll get that out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Ross, there's someone in the chat room, Angels Our Life, is asking where can she find a ghost in Seattle? She wants a contact info.
Oh, just go to our website at aghost.org.
Aghost.org. Cool.
Yep.
All right. What do you guys want to take it the last half an hour?
You want to get angry, Ross?
Oh, I think we've been angry so far. You know,
we haven't raised our voices any.
Yeah.
We're not throwing drama.
I'm trying to keep it low key right now because I want to use this as a soft opener for the show.
You heard that, audience, right?
Yeah. You know, believe me, there's a lot of things that we could be bitching about and really go into detail, but I don't want to constantly feel like we're rehashing everything over and over again for the audience. So I'd like to give them, you know, kind of like a teaser that yes, there's all these problems that we have in this field. Let's take them on for each episode and then see how we can bring the community together to, you know, fix that problem. So, you know, I don't mind doing the soft teasers. I just don't want to get into like, you know, anything heavy right now, like talking about apps or other things that Jake knows will.
To the Americans, have any of you guys ever investigated the Shelbourne Inn in Washington?
Shelbourne Inn does not ring a bell for me.
Ocean Shores? Ocean Shores.
Oh, Ocean Shores. We haven't been down to Ocean Shores.
No. So
they said the Shelbourne Inn in Ocean Shores?
Yep.
I'm searching for it.
We have not investigated it.
It's Seaview, Washington is the town. It says Long Beach. I got mixed towns on here, but Long Beach is next to Ocean Shores.
You guys excited for the Paracon?
I am.
Yeah. We're excited for the live ghost hunt. That's going to be fun.
That is wicked.
Yeah, so we're going to do some reconnaissance this weekend because we have to make sure we've got signals when we go into the underground. Otherwise, there is no live ghost hunt from the underground.
Well, if we have to do a virgin sacrifice, I'm all for it.
Okay, so that would be you.
Yeah, I was supposed to go this year, but COVID ruins everything. And last year.
Yeah.
You
So
could have still
hopefully,
done something live. You could have done like
yeah.
a class or
Yeah,
something.
virtual, or maybe pre-record and do a live Q&A at least when you play back evidence.
2022. I'll
We
be
could
there.
have done something like this for the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that. Okay. Well, shit. Shoot.
Shit.
Merd.
So you want to hear something weird?
Go for it.
So, I had the knocking at the window.
Mhm.
So when I had my hoodie on earlier, I sometimes I'll have things fall out of my pocket, they loosen up or whatever. And I heard kind of like something hit the ground. So I go and look, and there's my Bic lighter. I put it in my pocket. And it was the lighter I lost a week ago.
The gnomes brought it back.
Yeah. Totally weirded out right now. Totally weirded out.
Hopefully we can get some EVP voices while we're doing the show.
Never
Yeah,
know.
we got to investigate your studio now.
Oh, go ahead. Merle knows there's a lot of weird stuff at my house. Merle knows.
Lots of weird things.
It's like the Alaska Triangle, but BC.
Could be.
There's a lot of weird stuff up here, man. A lot of weird stuff. I don't get it. All right, guys, we are about 20 seconds away. Big thank you to Chris Reap, Eric, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much for your dedication to this show. We really do appreciate the love. Thank you to everybody who's new, who's given us a thumbs up, thumbs down, and hit that subscribe button. Here we go with hour 3.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Blarney. Blarney is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce Ghosts of the Great White North. Merle is joining us from the Paranormal Road Trippers just outside Vancouver, British Columbia, and from Seattle, Washington. We have Ross, Allison, and Jacob Rice with A.G.H.O.S.T. Soon on our YouTube channel, we're going to be doing a live show on there called The Angry Ghost Hunter, where these guys and a few others are going to come aboard, and we're going to break down the paranormal. Good, bad, ugly, and the awesome. So it's going to be a lot of fun coming on up, gentlemen. And, for a lot of new people out there who are interested in getting into this field, or maybe just want to try it out as a hobby or something, Jake, what do you recommend people do?
Yeah, sure. So, if you don't want to break the bank, you've actually got a decent ghost hunting gadget with you. It's your phone. And you've seen the shows, right? EVP sessions where you ask questions in a dark room looking to get a ghostly voice to respond. You can use voice memo, like on your iPhone. I have an iPhone, so I'm not sure if it's on Android, but I bet they have something similar. And you can start with the EVP collection. What's nice about that kind of gadget is you can see the sound waves. And if you get something, you might see that little whispery sound wave alteration that could indicate a ghost is there. So I would say start with getting really good at EVP. It's probably the most common type of ghostly evidence you can collect. And I would say start there. Don't do the apps. The apps are crap. Because they depend quite a bit on your location, previous activity on your phone, so it can create
Embed
a ghost.
voices.
Yeah, it can create a ghost for you. So I'd say stay away from the apps. But yeah, start with your phone, voice memo. If you want, another common ghostly activity is the cold spot or the hot spot, and a digital thermometer is always a good one just to give you something empirical. To just start you going without breaking the bank. Like, you got your phone, and you can get one of the digital thermometer gun type things, measurements for like $15. I'd say start there, and when you get really good at that, then think about investing in more advanced gear.
How about for you, Ross?
Well, my biggest thing is I'm always open to people, getting involved in the ghost hunting field. I wish I had the opportunities to get involved when I was a lot younger. Now people can get in right into this. But my biggest thing that I've always told people is, if you're going to get into this field, gain your experience by doing public places like, cemeteries and hotels and stuff like that. Don't get clients involved. You need the experience and the training before you start going into clients' homes and trying to assist them with what they think could be what they could be experiencing. So definitely just, go have fun, go check out a haunted hotel, stay in the haunted room for the weekend. Gain your experience first before you start getting clients involved.
Yeah, and take a Ross tour. He'll give you some tips along the way.
You bet.
Merle, what's your advice to the newcomers?
My advice is just what Ross said. Don't take on residentials, because that's going to become a you problem right quick if you do the wrong thing. Graveyards, those are easy places, and you get a lot of EVPs at graveyards. Haunted hotels. You can even try your house. For gear, if I could tell any researcher that's willing to drop, I'd say $500, I would tell them to get a Zoom H1 recorder, H1N or H1. I would tell them to get even just a body cam, like a night vision body cam, because like a Sony 4K is in Canada is like $1,500, whereas body cam is under 200. And if you're feeling adventurous, get an EDI Plus, because it's your best atmospheric gauge out there, in my opinion. I really enjoy the one that June from A Ghost lent me. That's what I would tell people to get. EVPs, go hard with your audio, because that's where you get majority of your evidence. And recorded wave, MP3 stupid.
I would also say too that for new people coming in, you don't have to break the bank on buying a bunch of gear. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of newbies take, because all of a sudden they see the guys on TV and they're like, I can do that. I got more personality than drywall. I can do that. All I got to do is invest. And the next thing you know, they're paying their mortgage or their rent. They're taking that payment to go buy ghost gear because they feel they need the best, they need the technology. And, I think that is a real detriment when a lot of it, and Ross, I'll use you and Dave Spinks as an example. A lot of it is by your own intuition and feel. Not saying you're using psychic or kinetic ability, but you're going by that gut feeling, what that little voice tells you. You've learned little signs in the field that let you know whether you need to turn left down the hallway or go straight through the door. You know what I'm saying? And
well, definitely, you yourself can be a great device in reading the environment. I've always believed that everybody has even some sort of psi ability. We're just not really in tune with ourselves, but we should. We should be more in tune with ourselves and trust our gut feelings when we go into some of these places. So, you yourself could be a great device in going into haunted places. I myself don't claim to be psychic, but there have been times when I can just walk into a room not knowing any information whatsoever about the place, and just walk into a room and feel that heaviness, and then come to find out that is the room that it is haunted. So there is some validation for me when you have those experiences, when you go back and go over your research and realize, wow, I was in the haunted room and I felt it without even knowing it. So yeah, definitely yourself as well. But yeah, like Jake had said, and you had said, you don't need to break the bank. And I would definitely suggest, go to Jake if you want to know what tools you could use, because I see so many people, and so many people that get into this field don't have a lot of money. And they'll save every penny they can, buy their kid a cheaper birthday present just so they can have another $50 to add to that ghost hunting tool. And they want to save for a device that is crap, and I hate to say that, but there's a lot of those tools out there that you're just wasting your money on. And so I've always said that the best ghost hunting devices that you can have is just a camera and a recorder. Those are the two best devices that you could have.
Yeah. And so the one thing I would add on top of that is with the advanced gear that you see, like with a Ghost, we use some pretty advanced cameras and audio stuff, and they're a little pricey, right? The thing most people don't realize is you have to know how to edit the audio and video. And if you don't want to invest time in learning, like if you've got iMovie or Movie Maker or Hindenburg to another audio workstation, you're never going to get your evidence anyway. So I would say always start and build up to that, because you still have to acquire the software to do the editing. That's additional expense and time on it all. So start with your phone. Take it easy. Use your camcorder that you have, your little handy cam. That's fine. Body cam's $129 US,
Give it 5 years and you'll be able to call out, Alexa, please edit my video.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That would make my life so much easier. Guys, Lynn has a question in our chat room. She is asking, why are ghosts in the cemetery? If I was a ghost, I wouldn't be caught dead there.
Well, most of the cemeteries really aren't all that haunted.
I took that as a joke.
Yeah.
I've been in some cemeteries and have had some interesting experiences,
Ditto,
especially when you go to pioneer cemeteries, because you have to understand that cemeteries were much different back in the day. They were more visited. And I do believe that, when you're talking about attachment to a person, place, or thing, there could be the attachment to your body. You're too afraid to let go. So I have had experiences in cemeteries. So there are some pretty good, stories when it comes to haunted cemeteries.
Yeah. So in regard to that, I would say we'll call it the living makes cemeteries haunted, where it's that emotional charge that can pull someone back because of the grief experienced by their loved ones. And so I've found when there is activity, it's more so with more recent deaths than, someone that's been dead for 110 years and there's no family there anymore. We could talk about Black Chuck and Phantom Dogs because those are guardian spirits, but I would say that's a separate thing from this.
All right, we got a question from Rob, good old Bigfoot Rob here. He says, how do you keep the entities from attaching themselves to you?
Well, like I said earlier in the show, just being verbal about your intent, why you're there. And then at the end of your investigation, I always say, thank you for allowing me to be in your space. This is where you belong. Do not follow me home. I think that for me has protected me all these years from going into haunted places and not having anything following me.
Yeah, and for me, what I've done is pretty much what Ross has done, where I'll do a welcome and farewell message when I go into a haunt. One of the other things, and this is probably just completely belief-based, but I've been known to bring some obsidian and onyx with me, which are grounding stones, and that kind of smacks down on an attachment. But, that's pretty metaphysical type stuff, and that's about the only time I would say I would use that stuff.
When you're looking at situations where something's following you home, I tend to find that a lot of cases we were dealing with situations where somebody invited it back to home with them.
Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah, so you got that situation, but then you also got the situation where they go into the property and they're very disrespectful to the property and they're disrespectful to whatever's there. And I think in that situation, you may be pissing off whatever's there to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm going to get you. Not right now, but I'll get you.
That brings up a good point, because we could talk about Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, which For the longest time, that's where all the Chicago suburban kids would go get drunk, knock over headstones. But now that the community has reinvested in the cemetery, rebuilt the graves, a lot of the activity has really mellowed out. So as soon as you start showing respect to the location and the haunt, things can change rapidly.
All right, I got a question from Square Hammer because he's on the square. He is on the level. He's ready to stand right here, right now, before his Devo. Anyways, you got to know the song.
Okay.
Ghost, the band Ghost, Square Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Swedish death metal band, right?
Yeah.
That Ghost?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. He's asking, have any one of you ever run into a dogman or any other type of creature while hunting ghosts, whether it's in a cemetery or anywhere else? Maybe UFOs, Merle, don't deny it. And, I think that's a good question because there's like Ross and I have talked ad nauseum, David Weatherly and I and others, there is a tie or seems to be a tie between all of the phenomena.
Well, I think there's a lot of theories out there where people want to claim that, when it comes to Bigfoot, that it's related to aliens. And then there's, some ties that maybe sometimes when we're experiencing paranormal phenomena like ghosts, there's possibly time slips. So again, we could throw theories out there all night, but it doesn't necessarily give us answers as to what's going on. The paranormal field is very vast. And so and that's one of the reasons why I don't usually like to use the term paranormal investigator, because again, I like to use the term ghost hunter, because when you say paranormal investigator, you're opening yourself up to all the different aspects of the paranormal field. And my passion has always been ghosts. So could there be ties in with all these different elements somehow being, connected in some web of paranormal? It's possible. But again, our information that we are receiving from the other side is still very limited. So I don't think we can give a direct answer, but it could be a very fascinating connection.
How about you, Merle? Seeing the black triangle before going into a ghost adventure in Oregon?
Oh, the Wolf Creek Inn drama. So when we were down there, I saw what it's probably, you Americans have so many U.S. silent planes. Military. It was 100 feet in the sky. It was nighttime, and all I could see was a triangle of lights. It was two green ones and a red one. It was hovering right above us. Couldn't hear it, but you could see it. I actually have a video of it somewhere. I took it
send it
on my iPhone, but you can see the light, so the triangle kind of glistening.
Yes, Merle will film that, but won't film the audio for the Bigfoot chanting to us.
but the thing is, it was there on top of us long enough where I could be processed. I'm like, all right, I'll just get out my phone and film it, and then it just went away. It was silent. So that would be my only UFO story. As for Bigfoots during ghost hunting, no. The only experiences I've had with Bigfoot is the one with Dave, and then probably 5 years ago when I was hunting. I grew up hunting, so I know what every animal sounds like in the bush in the Pacific Northwest. And I heard kind of grunting. I'm like, no, it's probably a bear, maybe a moose, but it wasn't. Then I heard two trees kind of get knocked down, and then a bunch of knocking, like the classic wood knocking, and then shaking of trees. And then, like, I've got my crosshair up because it was at a tree line. I'm like, all right, nothing's running at me right now. And then it just disappeared. It was odd. I don't know how to explain it. Wasn't a moose, wasn't a bear. Certainly wasn't a deer.
He doesn't believe in Bigfoot, though.
It was a demon.
It was a demon. It was a demon, yes.
I threw water on it and it was over.
Here's a great question from Chris Moe in our chat room. I've never thought of this question. This is a good one. Will ghosts become a commodity if we find out their secrets?
I think it's definitely interesting. The thing is that's the biggest question that we've had. You know, if we were able to validate a true haunting and prove a haunting, it opens up so many questions. One of the things that comes to the table is religion. You know, if there's proof of the afterlife and that we can communicate with the afterlife, what answers does it offer for religion? You know, it's I don't know. It's a tough one.
Mike, Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's because we can't prove what they are first. I would be interested if we find out it's really nothing more than some kind of time slip. And then we can look into the physics which would cause that. But then you have to think if you're talking to someone from the past, you couldn't really tell them anything because it changes the future. So would you want to do that anyway? Unless it's like something like Fringe and it's a parallel universe, which I thought would be cool. I'd totally go do like I totally do. What was that show with the pharaoh that wasn't really a pharaoh? Stargate. I totally Stargate that. Yeah, I'd totally Stargate that.
Gentlemen, we have about 3.5 minutes in a show that has just flown on by here, and we've had a lot of fun tonight. You know, my question to you guys is, you know, what do you want out of the paranormal? Each of you gets 1 minute. What do you want out of the paranormal? Merle, let's start with you.
Merle wants to know why, how it happens. I want to be able. I like to help. Like to help the client, but what I want out of the paranormal or paranormal research is yeah, like I said, why it's happening, what is happening, and how it's happening.
Very cool. How about you, Jacob?
For me, it would be to uncover the mystery. So what Merle is saying, I want to crack the case, essentially, that if there's a spirit, I would want to understand why it's here, who it is, what it needs, you know, and finally answer, is there life after death?
That's the big one for me. And Ross, how about you?
I think that's the biggest mystery, life after death. That's something that man has questioned from the very beginning. We don't want to believe that, you know, when we die, that just poof, you don't exist ever again. You know, so I think that is what drives most people into this field, is because you want to know what is our own existence when our time comes. So I think that is the biggest question right there, and the answer that we're striving to find out.
I'm going to come back as a beautiful butterfly. Much like Henrik, what's his name? Henrik from the A Bug's Life, remember? Disney movie?
Oh, it's been ages.
Oh, now I'm going to have to look that up.
You're already a beautiful
That's
Thank you. Words can't bring me down, Merle. Words can't bring me down. You know, and through this, as we got about 90 seconds, COVID has obviously changed the game quite a bit in the paranormal world for those who are actually abiding by the laws. How itchy are you guys to get going? Get this over with and get going. Ross, I know you are.
Yeah, I've been unemployed for going on a year now, so I haven't been able to do much of anything but sit home and write books. So I miss the traveling. I really do. I miss the ghost hunting. You know, we've done just a handful of cases since COVID, and we're not lucky like Mike out there going out all the time for 4 days investigating places.
Yeah, isn't that nice? Hey,
I got places for us, Ross. You're coming up.
at least you were invited to his birthday. I was not.
You were. You just didn't check your messages.
Oh. Jacob, how about for you? What do you look for?
It's the travel, because Ross knows, like me and my significant other, when we travel, like we go and we're gone for a long time and we explore odd corners of the world. And so I'm dying for that. So I'm just like, please inject me, give me the vaccine. You know, there's some countries I need to see.
Yeah.
And Merle, it hasn't stopped you because you're rebellious that way. But gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you for coming on Ghost of the Great White North. with Merle and myself. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and welcome to our Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel, where in the next few weeks we're going to start launching this and get this going, where the Angry Ghost Hunter will return.
You bet. You bet. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Mike Morin, otherwise known as Merle, from the Paranormal Road Trippers, and from A.G.H.O.S.T down in Seattle, we have the legendary Ross Allison, who will wear a top hat during the Angry Ghost Hunters, and Jacob Rice. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, guys, we're clear. Great show.
Thank you for having us on.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. That was awesome. You know, it was. You know, even though none of us got invited to Merle's birthday, but
COVID rules.
But yeah,
That's right. We won't invite him to our birthdays.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, but just so you guys know, I'm going to be meeting with my sound guy this weekend, because we think we can make an easy transition from OBS, our system that we use on video, over to the main computer. Right now it's on my secondary computer, but we're going to transfer that over. And once we transfer that over, we're going to test it on YouTube.
Okay.
So that way, then we just got to get YouTube to pick up the Skype feeds, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing that testing, and it's also good for the show here too, because we'll be able to add video to the show as well. So that way, like a night like tonight, the audience will be able to see everybody, which will be cool.
Yeah. So let me know if you need. I've tested the Skype feeds already with OBS. It's not bad.
Yeah. So the only thing we have to make sure is that it doesn't mess. You know, when you transfer over programs, it can mess with your audio settings. We just have to make sure that with the programs we're using for the audio settings that suit both YouTube and the radio side of things, that it doesn't counteract each other.
So I tested that because I got Spreaker on my own computer. They don't. They shouldn't interfere. The one thing for you, Dave, that you might want to do is when you do your video feeds, the video will have its own set of audio things.
Yes.
Probably not as complicated as your mixing board.
Yeah.
But you're going to get things like compression limiters, de-essers. It's all there for you under filters.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll make it happen, and it'll be good. It'll be good.
Hearing wah 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 wah.
What's Snoopy's teacher?
Merle looks like he's about to fall asleep.
Merle was listening. OBS and stuff.
Merle was supposed to be coming
That's
up.
That's what I figured.
Merle was supposed to be coming up to my place this week to hang out, and he didn't.
Oh,
this week?
Yeah, you said.
Oh, in case we did a trade.
Yeah.
Well, it's still next week.
All right. Be that guy.
Be
that guy.
Does this have something to do with like wife swapping or something?
No.
What's going on here?
No.
Maybe we can't say it.
Can't say it. Can't jinx it. But it's crazy. But gentlemen, thank you so much. I got to go get ready for the news here, but you guys were awesome. Thanks for being really cool with the listeners, and I know my people in the chat room and others tuning on in that the minute we end up launching this, that it's going to do very well on our channel. I can already sense it. Sense it. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care.
Right.
Thanks very much.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Be safe.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Seriously, that's going to be fun for you guys. The Angry Ghost Hunter. It's going to be real fun for you guys. All right. All right. We're going to get go.
Rock.
We're going to get going here in like 35 seconds. Cherie, we're already on OBS, but I have to move it over to the other computer. There's Merle in the chat room. Hey, Merle, do you have a website? Corrence, the booking guy, wants to know if the Merle has a website. I don't even know, to be blunt. I don't even know. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the mutilated. Yes, the Crook County Sheriff's Office in Prineville, Oregon, is investigating several suspicious cattle deaths and possible mutilations in rural, eastern, and southern parts of the county over the past week. See, Oregon's got a lot of aliens. They got aliens down there. The agency says it plans to have extra patrols and urged ranchers to be vigilant. This area is very rural ranch land, as well as BLM land, Under Sheriff James Savage said. The cause of these cattle deaths were not natural and are under investigation. Sergeant Mitch Madden has said that there have been at least 3, possibly 4 such cases, and that certain body parts were removed from the cows. The undersheriff added, the sheriff's office would like to encourage our stock growers to be vigilant in checking their animals and to report any suspicious activity to us. The sheriff's office will be providing extra patrols to rural locations around the county in an attempt to locate who or what is responsible. Anyone seeing anything suspicious or peaceful or vehicles in the area is asked to contact the sheriff's office. There have been several reports in recent years of cows and bulls with body parts and organs removed in Harney, Wheeler, and Umatilla counties. The FBI has files of thousands of mystery cattle killings and mutilations across the U.S. since the 1970s, but no reported arrests because it's aliens. It's aliens. It's not that little wimpy chupacabra. This ain't Bigfoot, okay? This is aliens. We know it's aliens, all right? Lou Elizondo's got to get his butt to Oregon. Find them aliens that are, taking our beef product for a good steak. Well, the vegans would be proud of this. They would. Moving on, many people are skeptical enough of Bigfoot's existence, but what about a murderous Bigfoot who tore 3 men limb from limb? Let's get into it. Journalist David Holthouse, Corrance, we should try and get him, calls the urban legend the craziest story I've ever heard, and he's just crazy enough to look into whether the tale actually happened in Hulu's Sasquatch. Yes, Hulu, the television channel, as seen in their exclusive trailer. Yeah, director Joshua Rofe and executive producer Steve Berger and the Duplass brothers, a 3-part series of documentaries, is to look into the infamous Emerald Triangle in Northern California, one of the largest cannabis growing regions that also holds the highest missing persons and murder rate in the state. Sasquatch goes behind Holthouse's investigation into a bizarre triple homicide said to be the work of the deadly and elusive creature. After hearing the unbelievable story in 1993, Holthouse is back 25 years later as he searches for any evidence that sheds light on what happened that night. As he digs deeper, he sees Sasquatch might not be the only dangerous creature in the area. I might believe in Bigfoot, but I sure as hell believe there are monsters among us, he says. The trailer to the docuseries teases never-seen-before footage, interviews with top-secret subjects, and larger-than-life characters beyond Bigfoot. Yeah, Sasquatch has its world premiere on SXSW and debuts April 20th on Hulu. I actually want to see that. Corey, we got to get that guy on the air, man. What's his name here? Journalist David Holthouse. Yeah, journalist David Holthouse. Got to talk to him about this story. That is incredible. Incredible. Let's move on. You know, your poo may be worth something. Seriously. A team of researchers from Israel's Ben Gurion University has demonstrated for the first time a technique of converting human excrement into hydrochar, a safe, renewable biomass fuel that resembles charcoal, as well as a nutrient-rich fertilizer. According to the team, this process could potentially address 2 major issues that affect many less affluent countries: poor sanitation and growing energy needs. While access to waste treatment worldwide has improved significantly in recent years, approximately 2.3 billion people still lack basic sanitation services, according to the World Health Organization. Of those, 892 million people, most of whom live in rural areas, defecate in the open. Human excretion, let's just say poo. Poo is a lot more fun. Human poo is considered hazardous due to their potential to transmit disease, Amit Gross from the Department of Environmental Hydrology and Microbiology at BGU said in a statement. While it is rich in organic matter nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, sometimes hot sauce, human waste also contains micropollutants from pharmaceuticals, which can lead to environmental problems if not disposed of or reused properly. Energy scarcity is also a problem in these regions. Approximately 2 billion people worldwide use solid biomass, such as wood, which is converted into charcoal and then used for cooking and heating. However, these practices have a significant impact on the environment, contributing to air pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and soil erosion. Yes, so we hope to address both sanitation problems and energy scarcity with this issue, Gross said. In a pilot study, the researchers described how they used a technique called hydrothermal carbonization to heat raw solid human waste in a special pressure cooker. Great, they're cooking poo now to 3 different temperatures: 180, 210, and 240 degrees Celsius for periods of either 30, 60, or 100 minutes. That's gotta stink. This sterilizes the human waste, dries it out, creating a solid coal-like substance known as hydrochar. Basically, we're mimicking coal formation in nature in much shorter time, Gross said. In these conditions, different chemical reactions of poo occur and the wet biomass, aka poo, is converted into hydrochar, which is hard poo, a coal-like material that is rich in carbon and can potentially be used as an energy source. See? I'm telling you, we could start making some money off our poo now. Totally. When this takes off, and it will, sell your poo, people. Literally, start hoarding your poo now. That's what you should do. It's going to be worth, that's the next Bitcoin. We're going to have poo coin out there now. Poo coin. I'm coining the term right now, pun intended. Poo coin. A team of Russian researchers has dropped a brand new telescope into frigid Lake Baikal, the deepest lake on Earth. It wasn't an accident. The instrument took the plunge to give scientists a better shot at detecting neutrinos, elusive subatomic particles that are extremely difficult to spot since they usually pass right through matter without leaving a trace. It may seem counterintuitive to try and get a better view of space from nearly a mile underwater, but if you look at neutrinos arriving from space instead of light, this location makes a lot more sense. Neutrinos slice through most ordinary matter like butter, but by the time you reach the end of its sentence, hundreds of trillions of neutrinos will have shot through your body when transiting through something like media, like water. All right. However, the particles can sometimes leave evidence of their existence. Lake Baikal contains more water than all the Great Lakes put together, making it a prime spot to observe those pesky little particles. So the Russians, in collaboration with the Czechs, Germans, Polish, and Slovakian researchers, splashed the neutrino sensor into the lake about 2 miles offshore. In Irkutsk, the lake is frozen over and is a destination for all types, from particle physicists to Instagram influencers. The Russian telescope is not the first to seek out neutrinos in alien terrain. The United States has a detector nicknamed Ice Cube that is constituted by a cubic kilometer of ice at the South Pole. This one has an arguably less catchy name, the Baikal Gigaton Volume Detector. Such a sexy name. Such a sexy name. Let's go back to the poo coin. See, that's how you create something that could sell. The poo coin. Serial stowaway Marilyn Hartman has been arrested at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport after leaving the residential facility where she was being electronically monitored. The Cook County Sheriff's Office says that it was notified that she had left the facility around noon Tuesday, and that the electric monitoring staff immediately began trying to find her location. Staff attempted to contact Hartman by using the phone built into the device, but Hartman did not answer. The electronic monitoring unit investigators found that her device indicated that she was traveling in the direction of O'Hare International Airport. As investigators headed to the airport, the sheriff's office noticed the Chicago Police Department notified the police department that Hartman appeared to be heading to the airport around 1:38 p.m. Police were notified that she was close to Terminal 1. An alarm was activated on her ankle monitoring device as she was detained by police officers, the statement said. Hartman? Well, she didn't enter any secure areas. No, the 69-year-old instead just wanted to go for a flight, and she will be to return, though, to Cook County Jail because the police don't like it when you skip out on things. They just don't like that. Hartman is scheduled to appear in court this week. Debunking information on Cook County Jail website. She is currently being held without bond because, she is that dangerous and a flight risk. The attorney representing Hartman said that she continues to battle mental health issues and characterized her actions that led to her arrest as a relapse. She continues to struggle as a homeless person within a system that is not designed to adequately address the mental health issues Ms. Hartman presents. Until this arrest, Ms. Hartman has been stable for the past year and a half, cooperative, and without incident. Unfortunately, relapse is a part of what happens sometimes during treatment. Relapses must be addressed through treatment and not punitively, her lawyer said. Roe Taylor added that Hartman is a non-violent person who is not shown to be a risk for harming others. Authorities at a Safe Haven, the nonprofit home where Hartman was residing, said they had no comment on how Hartman managed to leave the residence. So in other words, what they're telling you is somebody is getting fired for not paying attention. Save for the Macarena, the most aggravating dance a human can perform these days is that thing where you're walking down the street and have to outmaneuver a pedestrian who is texting At first, it seems like they're going to crash into you. Then they finally look up from their phone, at which point you have to figure out who's going to swerve left or right. You both swerve left and realize that won't work, so you both swerve right, and that goes on and on until you finally get mad enough to yell at them. Call it the smartphone 6-step. Grab your partner, do-si-do, and toss them into the street with a suplex, the Iron Sheik style. We've all danced that infuriating dance, but now scientists have shown just how big of a mess a phone-distracted pedestrian can make, not just for you, but for a crowd in large. Researchers in Japan set up biodirectional flow experiments in which two groups of 27 people, one team wearing yellow beanies, the other one wearing red, walked head-on in an experiment. One of the groups, including 3 people looking at smartphones, the researchers placed these distracted walkers either at the front, middle, or back of the pack, while cameras above tracked everyone's routes and speed. In a controlled experiment in which no one was distracted, the researchers observed previously described phenomena known as lane formation. As the two groups made contact, people arranged themselves in 2 or 3 columns. That is, it wasn't that one group flowed neatly in one direction and the other flowed in the other. No. Forming 2 big lanes. That didn't happen. If you look at it from above, the intermingling crowds instead look like stripes of a flag, a single column of red hats, then a single column of yellow, then another red, then another yellow. But, throw the cell phone in there and all hell breaks loose. Yes, they don't want that. The distracted leaders couldn't negotiate that subtle yet complex nonverbal interaction with their counterpart at the head of the approaching group. So if you looked at the trajectories of how a red-hatted phone-reading individual walked instead of a neat flag-striped lanes, they were just a jumbled mess. Didn't know where they were going. It was distracted driving. You would swear somebody was on, Aunt Mary's hidden booze, that she has stuffed in the medicine cabinet in the bathroom. Seriously, it was a jungle out there. So, in other words, what scientists are saying, if you're walking on a sidewalk and you're in a downtown area, just put your phone away so you're not distracted and running into people. Apparently, we need science for this, for logic. Yes, we need science for logic. So, a Georgia man who was expecting his final paycheck from a former employer said the money instead arrived in the form of 500 pounds of oil-covered pennies dumped in his driveway in the middle of the night. Andreas Flotten said he submitted his 2 weeks' notice in writing in November, and Miles Walker, the owner of Walker Luxury Auto Works in Peachtree City, had a noticeable negative reaction. He gets up, puts his hands on his head, walks out the door, and disappears for like an hour. Flotten, who said he left the job due to a toxic work environment, said he was still owed $915, which the owner told him would be delivered in January. He said the owner accused him of damages when he called to inquire about his check not arriving at his home, so he contacted Georgia's Department of Labor. Flotten said the money then showed up as 500 pounds of oil-covered pennies that were dumped in his driveway in the middle of the night. Flatten's girlfriend posted a video on Instagram showing the messy pile of pennies when they showed up outside the home. I have nowhere to put them. I had no idea what I was going to do. Like, how am I going to get money from pennies? Really? It is money, Flotten. Pennies are currency. Walker said he couldn't recall if he dumped the pennies at Flatten's house. Doesn't matter, he got paid. That's all that matters, Walker said. Obviously, this is a grumpy guy. Flatten said the pennies are currently being stored in his garage while he works on cleaning them so they can be cashed in. Finally tonight, a Minnesota farmer whose crop was badly damaged by a hailstorm ended up having the harvest rescued by a company that turned damaged peppers into special hot sauce. Dana Yokela, owner of Song Farms in Cannon Falls, said the pepper crop was destroyed by a hailstorm right before the planned harvest, and it looked like a total loss. Yokela, who said that one of the farm's clients, Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce, offered to step in and rescue the damaged fruits. They all took whatever peppers they could use, a lot of scratch and dent. The company turned the damaged peppers into a hot sauce aptly called Hailfire. The company's owner said all profits from the sauce is going directly to the farm. Oh, that's really cool. I want this bottle of Hail Fire now. Yes, it's a nice gesture, but I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at the pain those families are dealing with, knowing that you woke up one morning and lost everything and you may not have another season to grow, founder Craig Kaiser said. Kaiser said the sauce is selling well and the farm can expect to receive up to $40,000 in profit because of this. How cool is that? That's good humanity right there. Support Hail Fire Hot Sauce. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. If you could go ghost hunting with Merle, yes, Merle, where would you go and why? Haunted History BC. I would want to go to a 102-year-old powerhouse in the city of Abbotsford. Hey, that's my hometown. Now a B&B because it's old, looks cool, has amazing history with a few deaths around there. Yeah, it's bound to have some activity, right? We'll find out. But for a dream hunt, somewhere in Oregon. Liz, the house I grew up in, lots of interesting things happen there. Old River Mansion. My parents were able to speak with the former owners who had stories as well. 13 Ballads. Marble Island in Hudson's Bay. Last known location of the vanished night expedition of 1724. So ask a ghostie what really happened back then. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right, where do others want to investigate with Merle? Kimberly. No, that's not it. That's not the Merle one. Where is the Merle one? Where did it go? I just had it here. Just had it. My goodness. Can't find it. All right, there it is. There it is. Science Bob. I want to go to Gettysburg with Merle to try and interact with those still fighting the Civil War. Gail, Shiloh Inn, Ocean Shore, Washington. Actress Ginny Sims built first hotel on the site. The day her hotel was torn down, she had a heart attack and died. Lori, nowhere. Been to 2 places. Had lots of experiences. Olaf, I would go to Dave's house. I hear the backyard is very active. No, I would actually probably go to this abbey in Italy, which is insane. The Ukrainian watermelon. Not sure. I would go anywhere dark with Merle. I noticed in his birthday hunt picture post, he had one person with tape over their mouths. And on second thought, I would go anywhere. His skills are awesome. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thank you to Ross Allison. We got Jacob and Merle for Ghost of the Great White North. And to Captain Shirk for the awesome SOR Newswire. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking us in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Spreaker, Facebook, and the Space Travelers Club on Twitter. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Well, wasn't that fun? That was a lot of fun. Good old Merle. Good old Merle. Merle. Big bad Super Quest taking us home. He's like, fuck yeah, Captain. Fuck yeah. Take us home, you bastard. You big Canadian bastard, you. Oh, yeah. I know it. I know. Oh, man. Fuck yeah, Captain. Take that shit on home. Break it on down, Captain. Oh, man. Quest, I can totally see you doing that, man. Totally see you doing that. Oh, that's freaking awesome. Thanks, Jenny. I know you're laughing, Quest. I totally know you're laughing. You cannot deny this. Oh. I'm seriously thinking of shaving the beard, people. I'm like sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm thinking of bringing it down. But I don't want to. I'm fighting through it right now. Really fighting hard through it. Thank you, Super Kira. Hey, Alan Young. All right, I'll be right back. Gonna take a bathroom break. There's 78 of you. I'm gonna say there will be 12 who leave. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. See, we dropped a few. All right. Crap, I already have a bunch of good shirts. I do have some that are coming, which say you got aliens, the new ones. So that'll be cool. Hi, Eva. 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 Wally. Wally. I read most of them, Human Carl. Most of them. Did I miss something, buddy? Please tell me if I did. I would love to get a Ric Flair shirt doing that. However, I don't think, considering he's got, I believe, that copywritten, I don't think that would work. spacedoutradio.com, carbines, or facebook.com/spacedoutradio show. That's where we have the list of upcoming shows. Thank you for your inquiry. Race fan, you're holding the record so far. What kind of shirt would that be, AA Ron? I already have some awesome shirts out there and nobody's buying them. Hey, Jim Morris, good morning to you. Good night, Fast Hemi. Have a good one, buddy. I do have to get more shirts out there pretty quick here. I know I got to send a bunch more out. The contest winners, I did put in that order about a week and a half ago. And I apologize because I have been so busy with my daytime job recently that I've even been working on my scheduled days off, where usually I try and get stuff done like that. And so that's where I am falling behind. But when the new website is up, it's going to be easier to get t-shirts. So we're going to be working on that. I'll be talking to Geraldine this weekend on the design of the website. We were using TeePublic, and then I went with a local lady here to do the designs and everything, and but she is very backed up, and she isn't the she isn't the fastest. D Swagger, see if the Magic 8 Ball wants to work tonight. Find out for you. You want to work tonight, Magic 8 Ball? All right. D Swagger is asking, is her mom trying to get in touch with her? All clear. Sounds positive. Let's try again. Fly Hazy, try again. All right, let's ask again. This is a real Magic 8 Ball. This is a Buzz Lightyear Magic 8 Ball. You get a Magic 8 Ball that's real, for F's sakes there, PBR. Does PBR even have a Magic 8 Ball? All clear. No, he doesn't. Sorry, D Swagger. 8 Ball is not wanting to work tonight. Nikki, Jacob works with Ross on A.H.O.S.T. PBR, you already lost 54-40 your fight. Vinster, I am talking to Geraldine. I hate to tell you, I'm talking with her. I'll try next time, D. Swagger. Don't worry, Vin. I'm still putting in good words for you. I'm being your wingman there. Totally being your wingman. I live in a town called 108 Mile Ranch, 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Amster, Ashira 7, by the way, just in the process of getting a divorce. She's available. I'll put in a good word. Tell her you got a large melon. Is that one wrong? I do get paid from T Public. Thank you so much, Dirt Road. Appreciate that. Yeah, no, that's fine. And we still use T Public too. Probably learn how to get in there. See if I can change that up a bit. Excuse me. That would be kind of cool, Dirt Road. I have had a glimpse of the new web page, Chris Mo. It's looking good. We do have to tweak it a little bit. So, race fan, I haven't even figured that it. I want to make this Vegas thing so impromptu that we just show up and wherever we party, we party. Jenny, yes, we are going to have that ability with the new store. Yes. So that is. Yeah. One sec, guys. Yeah, the other store didn't really work as well as I thought it would, all because of the slow making of the t-shirts. So we're gonna put the t-shirts back online, and Geraldine's gonna set that up for me. Let's see. If we go to Vegas, what I want to do is find someplace that's going to be as inexpensive as possible on the strip that everybody can kind of afford to be there. There's a few hotels that provide that. Whether it's New York, or the Luxor or Monte Carlo, somewhere along that end. We'll probably go there. I mean, where you stay, it's all going to be up to you. I'm not booking anything. The only thing that I'm booking is my own room, and the rest of you, when you come, you're on your own. Like I said, it's going to be real impromptu. It's not a conference or anything like that. I'm sure there will be some really cool people hanging out. The only times we're going to schedule is the party nights. We'll find some center bar to go crash and just have a good time and kind of take it over. My thing is, I don't know if there's going to be 3 of you who show up, 20 of you who show up, 50 of you who show up, or 100 of you who show up. I really don't know. right? So I really don't know. So the only thing, like, I'm trying to make this is as easy and as impromptu as possible, where we could all kind of get together for a weekend and have a great weekend of partying and get to know each other. Good night, Suze. Real Supernatural, how's it going? You missed Ross. We're about an hour out of that. Hour out of that. All right. I do have to get going here, people, because I have to get up. I'm supposed to have a day off tomorrow, and apparently I do not get one because it's kind of busy. So I got to get to bed here, but I want to say much love to all of you. Thank you to Chris Reap, Eric Files, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats tonight. Really awesome. And thank you to all of you tuning on in. We will do it very soon, like in 20 and a half hours. So stay tuned. Tomorrow night on the show. Oh, goodness. Who do we have tomorrow night? Let me see here. Who is tomorrow? I already know tomorrow night. I just on the tip of my tongue and I can't even remember. Always like that. Ugh. Teodora Hadieska, the Dyatlov Pass. This is probably one of the most brilliant people working on this big mystery. It'll be a massive show tomorrow night. Massive show. So make sure you tune on in, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Let's have a good one. We'll talk to you all tomorrow night. Goodbye. Well, turn off. Turn off. Goodbye.